I'm sick of lying here all alone and nearly sleepless at night. I'm honest, it's boring. 1,000,000 demons surrounding me, picking a fight. It's toxic. You were the best I ever had, but every second you were screwing me over, and now I'm done with it. I guess that there was no surprise. Deleting you out of my mind. Isn't it iconic? Standing on the front line, steady going forward without knowing the direction. I need to be honest, it was for the better. Now every day is perfect for good days, but good wasn't the only perspective of all the days that we had. We lost it. You were the best I ever had, but every second you were screwing me over, and now I'm done with it. I guess that there was no surprise. Deleting you out of my mind. Isn't it iconic? Standing on the front line, steady going forward without knowing the direction. I need to be honest, it was for the better. Now every day is perfect for a life of
Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm McCready. Joining me today is part of Delta Bacon. Just gonna fix the camera there a little bit. But Badass University All Stars, week 3 of season 2. Well, Delta has been a fun couple of weeks so far, but now we're looking at teams really starting to ramp things up, really wanting to get better. And what a game to start us off today! Coconut Cracked and Randy Ravens will be our first matchup.
Yeah, apologies. The gaffer tape that I usually use to hold my camera in place is sadly lacking today. So we're going to be going ahead with some scuffed off the camera changes there. But yeah, what a matchup we've got up again. Another week of wonderful Buell action. And honestly, for my second time around, it's going to be some exciting matchups to come up. Very, very pumped and excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get in. Now, Coconut Cracked last week. They had a really, really good game in which they were able to beat out their opponent, and it was a match where I pegged them as the underdog. Randy Ravens, though, they've had a bit of a difficult start, so I look at that team as well, and I say, well, this is a team of two teams that, well, you look at it, and it's kind of like the bottom of the pile kind of fight. I'm quite excited to see it, though, because Randy Ravens, although they are towards that bottom at the moment, well, they've had a really good showing in quite a few of their games. Real standout players for me at the moment have got to be Trash Waifu and Mali. They've really been able to step up and start bringing things back to the team. It's just a case of whether the rest of the team can start taking advantage of that and start following their example, because you have the players keeping the team in the running, but then the rest of the team has to step up. That's the big thing for me. Coconut Crack, though. Let's take a look at them.
Yeah, at this level, there's nowhere to hide. You know what I mean? This is the top level of University Siege. If we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of it, this is where the best players come to ply their trade. There's not anywhere you can hide. If you're a weak player, you're going to get found out by your opposition teams. As a result, everyone's got to step up. You can't look to these strong players to carry you through matches, as perhaps with regular University Siege, with that more spread disparity of ranks may allow you to. You've all got to turn up. You've all got to play your best. And, at this point, we're seeing some signs of greatness from each and every team. Correct me if I'm wrong, but last week when it was yourself and I, Adam, we saw 3 7-5s in a row, which, that's very indicative of a strong pedigree of competitive skill. We do have a schedule coming up for you in just a few moments, and that's going to tell you just exactly what action we've got coming up for you today. As you have said, Adam, we have got Coconut Cracked going up versus the Randy Ravens. Then we've got the Lockdown Ludens coming back against an Imperium Mandem that struggled last week, losing top spot. And then the Sniper Monkeys going up against the Princesses, another team that we saw last week. Perhaps struggle a little bit, but then ultimately come out on top. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm very interested to get into these games, and I think these are really, really balanced when we do actually look at it, like you said, because I'm going to look at this. Lockdown Ludens and Imperium of Mandem, two of the strongest teams in this competition so far. Let's take a look at this again. Well, we'll have a look at the rosters just in case anyway, because production would like me to focus on the game that's actually here, so I'm sorry, I'll get to work. Coconut Crack. Now, this is a strong roster on the board so far. You look at Orca, you look at Tuluk, and Dicta as well. Those are 3 players that are really going to have a strong impression in how this game plays out. I've already pointed out 2 of those Ravens players, Trash Waifu and Mali, but I want to talk a little bit about Deathly. Consistently strong player, been performing with Circe as well, who's on Sniper Monkeys. They work together. There's a lot of cohesion. You have a couple of players from the same uni, whereas Coconut Crack, well, they're all different universities, not a single player from another university on that roster. I'm not really sure what I'm saying there. But when you look at the lineups, I think it's quite even. This is one of the nicely balanced games you've got coming up.
Yeah, and it's actually quite indicative that they're able to compete at such a high level without having any prior synergy between the players. Coconut Cracked, they've performed extraordinarily well. They've done extremely well last week, picking up a victory. But like I say, 5 players who don't play together at all. With a lot of the teams in this competition, you do have a couple of players that go to the same university that play together regularly. You've got a couple of the Liverpool roster on one team. You've got a wide variety of Newcastle players on another. You've got these rosters which have already a lot of synergy. So for Coconut Crack to be doing so well, in spite of having perhaps not all the advantages of the other teams, it's something to be quite noted. And I think you're very right to pick out Deathly as someone to watch out for this week because we haven't perhaps spoke about them as much as we ought to have done, and they are they were speaking about very very talented players. They all are. Why single one out? Oh, there goes the camera. So that's always fun.
Wonderful effort there, Tom.
So we're going to
passion's showing.
Yeah, we're going to have to start a fund for some gaffer tape for my camera. If you want less scuff productions, you're going to need to cough up.
Yes, now we are going to be looking at these map bans and see exactly where we're going to see these two teams facing up against each other. Now, the auto ban system is still currently in place, so that will be taking place. And let's bring it up. Let's have a look at what we've got.
Honestly, thank you, Buell, for the auto ban system. Honestly, I think we see it a lot. At the higher levels, we see these these maps continually coming through again and again. How many times you casted Oregon, Adam? How many times have you seen it? We always see the clubhouses, we always see the coasts, we always see the cafes. Give us something different, you know what I mean? The auto ban, it does that for us.
Tom, speaking of something different, it seems there's a few production issues, which is unfortunately unavoidable. We will be working at fixing them, and I would like to apologize because of them. So we'll probably just go jump back to our faces at the moment, because I can tell you right now, we're going to be heading to Clubhouse. And oh, there we go, we've got it. If you take a look at that, you've got Oregon, Coastline, those auto bans coming out, which is something quite comfortable for me. Calf and Consulate to follow. That makes quite a lot of sense. Chalet and Villa, well, those two maps, it doesn't surprise me Chalet was taken out the earliest of the last three, because then you've got Villa, a map a lot of teams are comfortable for. The ballpark is there for Raven saying, well, do you want to go Villa or Clubhouse?
Much like Theme Park when that came into the rotation, we are going to see Chalet get banned out more and more, at every level, just because teams they're not comfortable with it. Now with Theme Park, there was a reluctance for teams to learn, and I think one thing that's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of months is, are teams willing to put the time in to learn Chalet? Because at this level of competition, you can't rely, especially with the auto mod feature, the auto ban, especially with the auto ban feature, you can't rely on having a core set of coastline, club, cafe, something like that. You can't. You've got to diversify your lineup. It'll be interesting to see if teams think it's worth putting that time into Chalet. Because if you then invest all that time into Chalet, you're taking that time away from other maps, and the other team might just ban it out from under your feet anyway. But if we do get a Chalet, that could lead to some spicy matchups in the weeks to come.
Yeah, but we're going to be looking at Clubhouse. That auto-ban feature, like you said, might lead to a few more Chalet picks, a few more off-meta picks, realistically. But today, in this first match, it's not going to have that impact. Clubhouse going to be one of those very typical maps. We saw it last week as well. And I remember that was a long game. It was quite a fun game, though, to watch in itself. But it's Clubhouse. It's one of those maps where there's very little adaptation you can really implement that will have a positive impact. It's very much just the basics, where if you know what you're doing, well then, if you know your strats, your default strats, that's the best way to approach a map. There's very little variation, very little adaptation you can employ. I think yesterday, doing the Yukon 2 quals, I saw an angle from kitchen hallway through the hatch in construction to be able to take out any utility, any hard breach going on the construction wall, and it stymied to push completely because they didn't get the main breach open. But honestly, that's about as much as I've seen in terms of impact from changes. Realistically, you want to get down to your basics, your default takes, your default holds, and rely on the mechanics, rely on your team and who executes it better, just getting things right.
Yeah, I mean, getting things right always does help. And at this point, at this level, it's about disrupting the other team's plans as much as enacting your own. You've got to be able to hit your shots. You've got to be able to effectively push your way onto these sites. Ultimately, it's going to come down to who can hit heads faster. When it comes to this level of gameplay, the teams maybe they won't have had as much time as they would have liked to practice and refine their strategies. But I think that's one of the wonderful things about this competition, in that it does take the finest of university talent and goes, you're a team. You've not got the time to practice and refine these strategies. You've just got to go in and show everyone, viewers, potential scouts, potential future teams, what you are capable of.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it all, because we're looking at this, we're seeing, well, maybe you might have a team with one player really high in skill level and the rest of the team not so much. Well, in Buell, you'll be put on that level playing field, and that's something I really enjoy about this league. However, going into the game, well, I've got a little surprise for you, Delta, and I don't think you know this because you You were quite busy before we actually came into the cast before.
Me?
So,
Nah.
fun fact, there's going to be a substitution. And, I'll PayPal you a $5 if you guess who it is.
Well, given I walked in 30 seconds before the broadcast went live, this would be a bloody impressive $5, up to a tenner, and I'll give you a test. But in the meantime, whilst you're considering that offer, we are going to be getting into the game and going through to that operator ban screen, that all-important one that can make or break the strategies that people are going to decide in a game. The first attack ban's going to come in, and what a shocker. One for the sweepstake, the Lobots come in, and Thatcher, the Yorkshire Ripper, taken from the board.
Yeah. The most shocking ban nobody's ever seen coming before. But it makes a lot of sense, and there's a very common reason why it's being banned. Simply put, it's that breach. It's that main wall. You get that Thatcher. If you allow a Thatcher on the board as a defender, well, you're actively giving the attackers so much advantage, so much potential, because not only that, it doesn't matter if you bring a Cade. You have to bring a bandit to bandit trick, and that top floor you can still successfully hold. But the bottom floor is horrible, which is why Cade's being taken away now. Those hatches with a Cade claw on them can cause a lot of issues for the attackers, and with a Maverick ban, they're almost nigh impossible to get through. You've got to go through that bathroom, in through the kitchen, main stairs, dirt tunnel. You don't really have as many options as an attacker, so take away that operator, there's a lot of potential there. Valkyrie being taken away, well, that just leads on and on. I think it's the C4s and that bottom kitchen floor taken away. So many cute little hiding spots a lot of defenders can find. And I'll finally answer it. The script has been written, and last-minute substitution will be bringing Peak in, the owner of the league.
Yeah, so I was low-key hoping to see a score sheet come up, or a scoreboard, just so I could have a cheeky look through. Peak looking to throw the game actually for Coconut by playing Clash, so that's put paid to any offers of him being biased perhaps toward Coconut. He'll switch out onto the Smoke, a bit more meta. A good pick, in anyone's book really.
Yeah, Tom, when he told us that he was subbing in, he told us to expect some crazy stuff. And when Peak subbed in for SEAL Team Santa last season, well, he definitely provided. We saw a lot of very off-meta strategies. For example, he just, and this is word for word exactly what happened, playing in Season 1, he'd just say, oh, I'm going to do this. And somehow it would win the round. For example, his team would have a strategy for kitchen on Coastline, and he'd just say, okay, you do that, I'm going to take Castle, I'm going to sit in Sunrise, I'm going to win the round with it somehow. Goddamn impressive right now. The roaming Smoke at the moment, though, that's quite interesting. A bit of site setup has been done. He will be going down. He doesn't have that site on there, and will be looking for the spawn peak. Science, our wonderful observer, has also spotted this as the reaction in the chat and show, but nobody's going to spawn over their peak. It's a CCTV take. The attackers don't really spawn towards construction unless they're thinking of an off take. Maybe if you're going to spawn peak, go to stock, go to sauna, something like that. We will just see Randy Ravens, well, they'll spawn in quite safely.
Well, the thing is, with him going over there, yeah, the attackers tend not to spawn over there, and we are seeing there the Twitch being used to devastating effect, really coming back into the meta, actually, in Buell. Very useful, means that you don't have to coordinate as tightly, and look at that, how quickly the Randy Ravens opened up that door, but the information is given by there being a lack of attackers coming towards that spawn peak, so still knowledge to be gained there, although perhaps not the most effective spawn peak in the world. We are going to see the gunfight start, and definitely we're going to be the first person to pick up a kill in this game.
Yeah, Orca will be felled. The Vigil, that roam presence, well, that's just taken away. Suddenly you see Peak rotate back to site and say, oh, no. Well, Peak's probably going to say, oh, yes, with the nice shot coming in. The refrag potential. Incredible shot from Coconut to start us off. Although Comrade Barney is here to take down King Cairo. Refrag will come out from Dicta. She'll be able to find that kill and will be taking up this position at the bottom of Garage. Staying alive, you can offer a lot of opportunities to your team. And right now, just playing down in that lounge area, you're offering a lot of pressure. As long as the attackers know that you're there and don't know that you're a Jaeger, well, then they need to worry about C4's top.
Yeah, we saw Siege Force used to, some good effect on this map last week on Monday, on the one that I casted with you, Adam, where we saw Scipio almost do a few clutches out from the bottom. That's a nice little angle that Dicta's got there. Won't pick up, but will give the warning that they're there and slow the advance down. The drones coming out that time now being used to perform some active intelligence rather than pushing. But I knew we'll start pushing up. We're going to see the attack start coming in and tagging up these defenders, slowly constricting around them.
Yes, now we have the Mute holding that long angle onto Rafters. You have that information of somebody pushing in, but right now the Ravens, they're in a great position. They have breach control, they have Trash Waifu in the rotate with the diffuser ready to jump in. If they can bait out this one C4 and a couple of smoke canisters, well then life is going to be made that little bit easier. Mally will be giving information to his team, just saying, okay, we know this will play a red. Someone's going to watch that door. Trash Waifu will peek it with the pre-fire, won't be able to land the kill. Now it's a case of funneling in. Everybody knows exactly what's about to happen, and I knew we'll be taken down with the pre-fire. Dicta able to kill Trash Waifu and sold out to Mally. He rolls over red, but he doesn't get it. And Coconut Crack will pick up that first round. Orca being that opening kill, well, it's something you've got to think about. Why is that happening? What was the issue with the positioning there? Maybe it was just a little bit unlucky. Well, what can you really do except try and fix it on your second attempt at that site? The refrag coming out from Randy Ravens, that's just a stroke of luck, really.
Yeah, and they didn't help themselves, did they? With that very unfortunate early slip up.
I've yet to see a TK win a round, Tom. Shockingly enough.
Yeah, well, it's slipping into the meta more and more in this competition with teams, not quite synergized and not quite knowing each other's playstyles. It is sneaking in. Whether it'll win any rounds is anyone's guess at this stage, but Randy Raven showing that it's an as yet unproven strategy. But I quite like that round from Coconut. They've had a very, very strong performance on the holds. Their roam wasn't really that aggressive. It did what it needed to do, which was keep holds various and give them more of an indication of where they weren't. Which, from that you can infer where the other enemy team is. Yeah, and that's all it really needs to do. I particularly like the angle that Peak was holding, Peak OP, from the table through the hole, through to that angle, the rotate hole, through from rafters onto CCTV. I really actually quite like that angle. It's not one I see too often, and he held it very, very well. Not actually picking up the kills in the end, but doing very well to tag the enemy up, give the information, and really do their best for the team. So yeah, very well played from them, and good round from Coconut.
Just staying alive, realistically, that's the big thing for Peak, because those smoke canisters, as long as the attackers know smoke canisters are on the board,
yes,
well, that's a lot of pressure. Because you realize you've either got to push it, kill that smoke, face the issue of taking all that damage, or waste them somehow. With 30 seconds left on the clock, wasting it isn't an option at all. Randy Ravens, though, looking towards the second round, and that bottom floor defense will look for this complete roam play, and doing so and making sure players like Orca and King Cairo, who are renowned for their actual roam game, well, they don't actually get that opportunity to slap them. Now, for example, we all know about Orca, but I want to talk about Cairo a little bit. Good friend of mine, he also does quite a bit of casting, and nearly played each other in a couple of the other uni leagues, but we didn't. King Cairo actually in the ECS staff match, which I casted, up against Jesco, was able to clutch out a 1 versus 2 thanks to the roaming potential. Now granted, it's a little bit different. You will need to step your game up a little bit more in duel, but it's a very nice position to have. You got a flank and what a 1v2 against Jesco. That's going in the Twitter bio at least, but the roam player is going to take place. Call Me Dicta's going to clap back on those main stairs. We'll be able to find the opening kill and takes away deathly on the Ash.
Yeah, I quite like this. That's a bit of an unconventional one there. You see Peak with the shield holding that angle through onto main stairs. Not one that you see often. Quite a lot of teams in the university leagues, they will just seal that completely off and almost sometimes allow, elbow control there to be seeded. You will more often than not see that those footholds, but you won't. Oh, that's a lovely little frag from Trash Waifu over onto King Cairo, removing your buddy there. So perhaps the kiss of death from you as a caster, but
I have a lot of buddies, alright? I have a lot of friends.
Yeah, but how many of them are live on the screen now, mate? That's what I want to ask.
3, actually.
That's very fair, very fair. Peak, it's worth mentioning, perhaps you could say, because teams usually have synergy and they know the strats, having a substitute, however skilled they are, would be a bit of a detriment. But Peak, it's a bloody good player. I know you've played with him a lot more than I have, but like Peak's like Plat 1 pushing Diamond half the time, you know what I mean? And just the most cracked player you want to imagine. So if there's anyone that you do want subbing in onto your team, it is certainly Peak. And here they are just holding that bottom area just dominantly. They're just not letting go.
Let me explain a little bit about why Peak fits into rosters very easily. He appreciates it, like you said. He doesn't know the strats.
Oh.
He doesn't know what's going on.
But
what he does know is he can jump in and just say, I'm going to do this. The rest of the team play around it. I knew we'll be able to find a refrag, but Orca is there to just keep the number game in favor of Coconut Crank. They still have to deal with Peak, who's in that position. Shotgun SMG, that's huge. But Orca in blue is going to be able to find one kill, has the opportunity for another Peak on the aggression. Will find a second kill. Being able to hold that line of sight is just something attackers don't expect. Playing it aggressively, that's just something else yet again they're not ready for. You saw Peaky had a very nice angle through that bar and behind the shield. Very difficult to contest, so that SMG was able to land the killing shots it needed. But ultimately, for me, that was a case of Randy Ravens. They stalled out on the execute. They didn't really have any bottom floor map control when it came to the actual push. And I think that's just the opening frag constantly coming down to Coconut Cracked. They were able to find it and just shut things down.
Yeah, and you know it's unfortunate, but you just got to really gel together a little bit more. Like have that little bit of a push, a little bit of communication. Oh right, let's come down together. Let's go. Let's push together. Get those refrags. At the moment, the refrags are making the difference because Coconut Cracked, they're picking up the kills, but they're just not. For the Ravens, they're not picking up the refrags. They're getting fragged on, and then they're picking up a kill for every 2 that Coconut drop, for instance. Do you know what I mean? They're kind of in that kind of region as far as it goes in terms of kill rate. In terms of analysis on that last round, all I've got written down here is peaks. And I don't think there's much else to that. Very dominant bottom floor holds, but you can't take away from the rest of the team. And it is mostly a case of Randy Ravens kind of conga lining over onto site. Not what you want to see at this level, regardless of how skilled these players are or aren't.
Peak. That's your takeaway.
Peak to peak. That's a
do me a favor, everyone in chat, do me a favor and don't ask Delta what he thinks of the World War II. His analysis on there will... Well, just really
not the entirety of World War II, mind you. My colour casting for World War II was that the Eastern Front was not a fun time for anyone involved.
I said don't ask. You didn't have to tell them. But
well, stop them from
going
asking.
back to this Cash CCTV position, we're seeing Cash being opened up. Randy Ravens, they still have opportunities to put rounds on the board. Orca playing very aggressive in server has the opportunity to catch them off. Now, we'll be quick peeking it, looking for the kill with the drone. It should be going through. If the drone doesn't, well then, realistically, Randy Ravens, they deserve to lose that player. They will find out Orca, and they will just say, okay, played a little bit safer. She's going to be peeking. But right now, this Mute Jammer is going to do absolute bits for the defenders, shutting down the Twitch, the main opportunity for the Ravens to get that jacuzzi wall open. Now, though, they will move into the server area. The question then on my mind is, where has Orca gone? Is she going for that late roam? Is she holding down that position in Cash? She is, but Deathley's going to be able to find a kill onto Peak, taking away the mirror, taking away just that C4 and that Vector, which is a huge position to be in. Orca will look at the refrag, but you can't get aggressive, otherwise you will give up map control in a round. Orca will find a kill on the Deathly, the refrag there. Trash Waifu getting the crossbar to shut it down, but Trash Waifu finds another kill instead. Randy Ravens, they're in the driver's seat now.
They very much are. But look at how tightly dug in Orca is. She's dug in like a tick. You're not getting out of there, but, well, thank you, Trash Waifu. That makes my point completely irrelevant. Very strong holes, but, just there you go. Trash just comes in and then hits head, which is what you need. 4v2, Randy Ravens, their best possible opportunity now to stick around on the board, but they have still got to contend with 2 formidable players in the form of King Cairo and Call Me Dicta, but they've got the numbers and they've got a minute of time. They can do this.
Yes, King Cairo holding that bathroom now. That's a huge pound position. Now, they know you're there, but getting aggressive, that's going to be where you end everything out. Call Me Dicta on the angle just to cover. That's going to be a huge position to take place with. Trash Waifu with who will find a kill. Will be traded out very quickly before Comrade Barney shuts things down. Randy Ravens will pick up that first round. Very nicely done from them. They found the problem areas. They lost a couple of players to them. but they set up the crossfires so that they didn't become a problem anymore. Trash Waifu on construction, that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I'm saying. That was huge from him, in my opinion, at least.
No, you're absolutely right. The critical moment of the round was getting Orca out of that position. If they hadn't, then that was a round winner from Orca, because she incredible fragger. Like I think one of the things that I quoted last week is that where is it? They went 1-5 in week 1. Kept a little bit quiet in week 2, but that only points to maybe they're coming at a bit of a resurgence. So Orca, very strong player, not one that you want to be going toe to toe with when they dug in with all the utility that they had there, but Trash Waifu able to just turn and hit head. And that's what it's going to come down to. It is going to come down to not necessarily the strategy when it comes into these games on Clubhouse with this league. It is going to come down to that raw individual skill in some cases. Just being able to win your ones. As with most cases, you can have the best strategy in the world, but if you come up against someone who can aim, strategy is not really going to help you at that point. What I would like to see, however, is I would perhaps like to see a change from these mute jammers, because whilst they were effective in the previous round, they weren't the most effective they could potentially be. I don't think mute is necessarily as strong an operator as other choices. Preferentially, with the absence of a Cade, I would like to see a bandit in order to waste the utility, because the mute won't waste the utility. The mute will delay it. After which they can, at that point, take care of the mute jammer in whatever means that the Randy Ravens choose, and they can use the utility. Whereas if they were to, use the bandit, then it destroys the utility, and it's just that kind of economy that I'd be looking at this level. Mute not perhaps being the optimal operator for these sites.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you very, very strongly, actually. Now, you will see that mute jammer being taken away, but realistically, no matter what op you bring, that utility's getting cleared. Mute jammers, they offer a lot more coverage, and those drones can be taken down as well. Definitely will be suffering a little bit of damage, as will Mally. Orca getting shut down. She wanted to spawn peek, but she's not gonna be able to get it. First kill going in favor of the Randy Ravens, shuts down that Ella, shuts down the Roma, and most importantly, will give Dicta a reason to pull back. She has to go down into oil, go around to main stairs. Suddenly, Randy Ravens, well, you look at this, your garage is starting to open up. You can take control of there, maybe think about a plan. Getting these positions wasn't a big issue for them.
Yeah, just wanted to say, one thing that I find really interesting is that, be that the breach on site or not, can't get caught in the open like that, Waifu. Both of you cannot get caught in the open like that. That is, to be honest, that's unforgivable at this level. And now look at the Randy Ravens. They've got 2 people down. Definitely is as good as dead, because no one's coming to rescue them. All Peak has to do is clear the room next to him. It's now effectively 2v4. And Randy not in the strongest positions anyway. It's going to be a very tough one. But I knew looking to make it a bit of a strong one. They're going to start engaging in these little gunfights. They're going to take some heads, claim a few scalps to bring it down to a 3v2. Randy Ravens, not looking the strongest that they could be, but Peak, looking, snooping, looking for a kill around that area. They're going to put up, they're going to, destroy, that potential for an immediate push coming out from Zafir, so he'll use that smoke charge. And it seems to me that Randy Ravens, whilst they were in a good position after iNoob started with the frags, just hold my breath in case he picks up another one there. There it is, there's the other one. Thank you, Noob. Thank you for putting me completely off my rhythm. We are now going to see them aggress onto site. And that is kind of against the odds for what I would have expected, because, they didn't have those early game advantages, but here we go. Colby Dix is going to go for the play. They're going to run in, but they're not going to hit their shots. Barney will come in and headshot Dicta, and the attackers from nowhere will win that round. Adam, what happened?
I think the late round is where I'm really going to focus my attention on. iNoob definitely stepping up, finding those kills. Huge position to being granted, but you had Trash Waifu in, starting to get that plant down. Now, a great time to actually start getting the plant down, but the big thing for me is the fact that iNoob start pushing towards red. Now, the ideal positioning for your player covering a post plant or a plant itself coming down outside that breach. You can shut a lot of line of sights down into one angle, and in doing so, well, they have to swing into that line of sight to deal with Trash Waifu. No, Ainoob decided to start pushing red. Nobody was playing there. The swing came out from Call Me Dicta. Trash Waifu was just lucky enough to win the gunfight, hear it, and have enough time to deal with it. That's the big thing for me. Randy Ravens, that was a good round from them. Yes, Ainoob stepped up huge, and you were able to get that plant down, get the kill. But there's a lot of things you need to tighten up. You need to be able to play with that micro positioning just that little bit better and think about the position you're in. Is that the right way to play? The opening kill, though, is telling me a little bit about Orca. Maybe you should try and play it a little bit safer. We all know that Orca likes to run around and get those kills, but it doesn't seem to be working, really. She's been kept kind of quiet than the kind of position she wants to be in. So, Call Me Dicta definitely doing a lot of legwork with the kills. I want to see a tighter game from Coconut that at that 2-round minimum that they afford to lose. They need to win the next couple of rounds because Randy Ravens, anything from here, that's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as you say, you know, they are at that 2-round minimum, like maximum loss for that optimal kind of defensive half of 4-2. That's what you're aiming for. That's what you want to see. I don't particularly like that Melusi plate placement from King Cairo. What you want to do with the Melusi is you want to put them in an area where an attacker really has to expose themselves for a prolonged period of time in order to deal with them. That one's very easily dealt with, and I mean, I may be wrong. It was a very quick flash over onto the Melusi there, but I don't think that Melusi is actually covered by any Jaeger ADSs either. And that means that it's going to be extremely easy to deal with. Peek, just going to peek and take out Barney, standard procedure. Nothing we haven't seen before, definitely looking for a refrag, not able to find it, but is able to trade up. And Peek actually going to get downed and taken out by Waifu, but the kill's going to come through thick and fast. And all of a sudden, Randy Ravens, again, in a 4v2.
Yes, now a lot of the Randy Ravens right now, well, both players, they're currently just sat outside and they have to move in to find something to bring things up. The call out of a Madman on Peak is going to be there, but Dicta, really the standout player for me at the moment. She's just been causing issues for Randy Ravens. Mali down below is going to look for a kill onto Orca, but isn't going to be able to get it. Orca, well, you proved me wrong. The Castle is coming in great. I said play it safe. I said play it a bit more carefully. And you know what? Actually, no. I'm going to say that she did. She played the stock. She realized what was a key issue last time. They took control of stock very early on. Definitely got into the lounge, found the kill onto Orca, and then started doing a vertical play. She stopped that and nipped it in the bud by finding that one kill. Dicta, though, it's just playing incredibly at the moment. Honestly, the Coconut's main fragger and the lobby's main fragger at the moment. I'm just impressed so much by Dicta because I've seen the development that she's had since Season 1.
Yeah, I mean, where do you really go from there? You know, we have seen all of these players, you know, that competed in Season 1 progress very strongly, not only in BUEL, but also in, you know, the university leagues, be they competing in NSE, in NUEL, or in external teams, as we have had a number of players complete, you know, in T4. And, pardon me, and you know, the amount of progression that playing at this level really grants you, that's one of the reasons I love BUEL, really. Not only does it give these players the opportunity to compete in more Siege, you know, something that they all love doing, but also it's a test bed for them for going on to compete at this high level that perhaps they won't get with the university teams. I mean, myself, when I competed for Trent Warfare, you know, back then just Trent Thunder, I think we call ourselves. I was a lowly gold 3, competing with.
You're welcome, by the way.
You know, with platinums and that. Thank you for carrying me that one season and not doing it ever again. But I effectively dragged down the players around me, you know, because I just wasn't that good at the game. People are playing with those around them of similar skills, and that is absolutely huge because they get to compete at a level that allows them to be tested to an extent that perhaps with their own teams they aren't to the same extent.
Yeah, now, Randy Ravens are looking at a slightly different approach to this bottom floor. Instead of going for that full roam clear, they're getting dirt open very early. They're looking with Mali and Deathly and Ainoob, all to just get this kitchen open. Now, you can impact trick it, but that requires a lot of players to bring impact nades when you consider the fact that Habana's on the board. Now, 2 impact nades of Cairo will be used. Lucky Good will rotate around to try and take that position. Mali says, okay, that's 2 impacts. They don't have any more. 2 of these... Only 2 pellets will go off. Suddenly, Mali, you using a lot of utility to get this hatch, but still, it's going to happen. Inoob and Deathly will start moving forward, start the vertical play, but the roam is where a lot of issues are going to arise. You're seeing these players, Dicta and Orca, they have control of those staircases, and they're just waiting. They're waiting for Ravens to start moving in and getting into those choke points you talked about. Orca, though, will be taken away by Mali, finding his first kill so far, and I'm very happy to see that. I do like Mali. John is very nice, but the opening kill for Randy Ravens, the kitchen hatch is open, and you're seeing they're very comfortable. They're not even worried about C4s. Peek on these north stairs can cause a lot of issues if he's thrown out. He is going to get thrown out, and as such will pull back to the key problem area we saw last. Bar. The main bar covering the main stairs. They will do that vertical play to try and get eyes on. Just make sure we know where Peak is. Definitely will deal some damage onto Dicta, but the smoke canister will follow through. Now for Coconut Cracked, it's a case of just delaying and wasting time. Mali will rotate around to get the Moto hatch and give them another opportunity to aggress onto site. Trash by Fubu taking control of Dirt, won't be able to find that kill, will be taken down by Lucky Goods, and will essentially be dead for the round. Randy Ravens, they don't have time to rotate around.
Yeah, Peak here using their smokes, and perhaps in a way that most people wouldn't use them. Most people would save them perhaps till the end of the round. Oh, Lucky doing very well to pick up a kill there on Ainu. They've done their job. They're just going to pull back slightly, but they'll turn. They'll get hungry, and Trash Waifu will punish them for putting them down in health so much. Their kills will start coming through thick and fast. Peak still resolutely holding at those bottom stairs. Going to use their last smoke grenades. It won't get shot out. It will delay the Ash for another couple of seconds.
Now, I do love seeing Pete getting aggressive, but right now, this isn't the name of the game for him. 2 versus 3. Kinkara and Peak, they need to coordinate. They need to keep control of this wall with Peak so they can rotate onto the armory. Cairo, on the other side, needs to keep control of that blue. The push is starting to come through. Now we'll see Deathly able to find Cairo, and we'll also find Peak holding the main stairs. That was where it all depended on. And having that, you look at this right now, any retake attempt, shut down at all, and we are going to bring up the scoreboard just to take a look at how the teams have been playing as we do go into the second half. A 3-3 split, very, very nice for the attackers of Randy Ravens, and they'll be moving defense now. I'm very excited to see how they adjust this because they've encountered quite a few issues so far. Whereas Coconut Cracked, their aggressive playstyle of a couple of these players, such as Orca, Dicta, P, who are landing their shots most importantly, well, that might come into play in a different way. They might be able to get aggressive and find kills, or they might fall flat on their face and run right into crossfire set up by a little bit more strategic Randy Ravens.
I mean, yeah, like you said, having Pete come into the lineup because of the nature of the game doesn't necessarily disrupt the team as much. However, these teams, they will have done a little bit of preparation, and perhaps coming into the lineup and just doing your own thing, fragging out in the way that you would quite like to, hasn't quite worked out in the way that the Coconut Cracked would like, but they have put up a formidable fight. It's not been easy going for either team, and that's reflected in just how level this match has been so far. It'd be interesting to see how Randy Ravens counter the kind of almost dynamic style that Coconut have been coming through with. You've seen a couple of unconventional strategies coming through, and we've seen a couple of their prolific fraggers, like you say, Mali, struggling to frag, really, in that first half, going 1 for 4. That fresh Chichester breeze not doing very much good for their aim on this wonderful Easter morning, but ultimately, it's level pegging. There's not much between these two teams, and it is going to be those frags which define the remainder of this game. It's not going to be the strategies. We know both teams. We know they know the strategies. We know that from NSE. We know that from Newell. It's going to be the frags, and at the moment, we are seeing Coconut, I think, actually just being a little bit more clinical in their gunfights. However, Randy Ravens, when they do switch on, when they do set up these crossfires, they're able to counter the 1v1 ability that Coconut have. They're able to counter that, work around it, and actually produce some kills themselves. That's why it's level pegging and not 4-2.
Yeah, now what we're seeing right now is Randy Ravens, they have that bandit, they're trying to deal with this breach on the wall, but the ace, well, that's going to make life really, really hard. And, realistically, you can't get both of those. You put one summer charge on both walls, and something's getting opened up. You have to choose which wall to let them have. Big thing as well is that vertical play. Now, while Trash Wafu doesn't know that there's nobody in Lounge, well, he doesn't know that. Simply put, just the pressure of knowing that somebody has a line of sight that is similar to that. King Cairo constantly getting the information on the drone in the red stairs will lead to Trash Waifu rotating back. The breach will be opened, they'll be taken away, and suddenly they're also going to know about Deathly. Peak is going to find the first kill onto Comrade Barney, taking control of Logi and looking at moving into construction. Half the round left on the board, line to sight favoring Coconut Cracked, in my opinion. But now they need to start moving forward. They're trying to look at this vertical play and look at the breach, but they need to start stepping up a little bit more. Definitely on very low HP, will be forced into that corner. He has to play his life. The only way out now, win your gunfights. That's why people wanting to take that gunfight with him will be able to do some damage to Walker and takes her down. Deathly suddenly has a glimmer of fresh air, and Lucky Guts will take some damage. The Impact Nade will follow, and down up. The second will go and kill. The push is coming through, but Mali and Trash Waifu, they'll shut it down. Dictor on the red stairs, she has to step up and won't be able to. Mali finding 2 kills after being called out for the KD, and will give Randy Ravens another round. The first round on their defense, and hopefully for them, more to come.
Yeah, who knew the Pokeballs are OP? And that's absolutely wonderful. You know, the aggression, you know, if you are on 1 health, you know, you can sit there and hold an angle, but unless you've got that high headshot accuracy percentage, which, as we know, definitely does have, you know, very prolific fragger, good at aiming, you know, he's kind of implicit with that. However, but, you know, if they don't get that first time headshot, they're probably losing the gunfight. And, you know, prone firing and angle doesn't quite work at this level to the same extent that it does at, for instance, my own. But being aggressive, you know, getting, you know, pushing when you're on that, you know, that really low health. I think it was like between 1 and 5, something suitably single figure-ish and one-shottable. That was really fantastic because it stymied Nomad coming in and perhaps rescuing that situation. And from that, everything just fell apart. You know, Coconut, they lost their wands, and that's something that we said, you know, that I said not even 4 or 5 minutes ago that they were really, really good at. Randy Ravens, they came in, they won their wands. And that's all she wrote. You know, 4-3 to the Randy Ravens. They're taking the lead here. Round 7 for the first time in the game, moving into round 8. And that's actually quite a strong change of trajectory, given that Coconut, they came in strongly. They won 2 rounds on the bounce in quite strong style. You know, fragging out at a rate of about 1.8 frags for every 1 that the Ravens did. And now what a turnaround. The Ravens suddenly on top, in what is increasingly apparently an attacker-sided meta in Buell, at least.
Yeah, I think it's just the teams being willing to get aggressive. As we're see Peak looking to do right now, will open up those main stairs and subject himself to a run out from iNoob, should iNoob decide that that's the approach to take. Will not, and decides just to play it a little bit safe. You keep an eye on that dirt. That's the main goal for you, because as soon as you know that they're pushing in Logi, which is the logical next step for Peak, well then you can start moving down very safely. If you run out, you risk losing that advantage that you've worked so hard to gain. Right now, though, Randy Ravens will start looking at moving in. They take control of the top floor, then they move down below into the main, then they start doing their vertical play. They do, however, need to take care of that Maestro Evil Eye. The only person who's really going to be able to do it is going to be Peakalicious. Walking in there, gets his hammer ready, and takes it out. Not a single bit of damage going out from Mali. And suddenly, okay, you see teams, they go for 1 or 2 ways with that. They either have the Maestro and have their players playing very safe, or they have the player above. Not above this time, you'll have Comrade Barney in the billiards, very tight angle, ready to just catch somebody off guard, somebody waiting. Victor will start droning through, Peak will start dropping, and will suffer for it. iNew's able to find a kill as well. Now, Comrade Barney has to deal with a refrag attempt, and won't be able to. Orca finding 1 kill, Cairo just making sure that area is completely clear, but the damage is done. 2 kills for the price of 1. You're looking at that bottom floor, it's getting opened up half the round though, and now Randy Ravens, they just need to do what they did last round, hold that crossfires. If you do that, well, Coconut Crack, they have no choice but to walk in and do a lot of damage. Hatches are open, and Coconut Crack, they have time to do some vertical play, not that much, and as soon as they go for the attack, well, Randy Ravens, they don't worry. They know that all these players have to commit to the attack itself. The impact trick is starting to come out, and Dictor's going to have to try and get this hatch open.
They've got the utility to do it, and you know, the 2 impacts actually wasted there on the hatch previously. So that's all the utility gone. They'll very easily get it open, especially now that Hibana obviously can configure how many charges she fires. And that's actually made her such a strong operator now, as compared to when she only had a very limited, static amount of charges to work with.
Yeah, and right now we're seeing Orca take some damage on the main stairs. We're seeing now that that line of sight has been made, well, Ainu wants to get aggressive. We'll be able to find a second kill for his troubles and just plays behind the bomb. A lot of time has been wasted. We saw the vertical play start with a minute 20 on the clock, and now with 10 seconds left, Call Me Dicta's going to be taken down. A 1 versus 4. Cairo has a lot to offer for his team. He's able to get 1 kill, but he's not able to get another. And Ainu will get 3 kills in that round, and Randy Ravens another one. You look at them on the attack and you say, well, they picked up 2 rounds, and then they picked up a 3rd. They looked very comfortable when it came to attacking on their terms. So going on to the defense, well, you have to say, that is definitely for them. They definitely went in and said, these are the sightlines, this is the game plan, this is how it's going to play out. It's working. Coconut Crack, they're losing too many players early on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's the big problem for them.
Yeah, in the early game, whilst they were dominant in the in their own defensive half, being able to aggressively push these attackers on defense, they look on attack, they look altogether a different team. They don't look as organized or as unified or as resolute or as confident in their fragging ability as they did when they were defending. It seems to me like the Randy Ravens, they're now very happy to sit back, play a slower game, which I think suits them that little bit better. They were just to invite Coconut onto them, put pressure on them, as we did see Comrade Barney do to fantastic effect in the previous rounds with the Vigil, and pick up those early kills. But other than that, they're happy to just sit back and play the long game. And it comes back to what you and I, we always say, I don't know if we coined the phrase, but we certainly co-opted it and use it a hell of a lot when we work together. The Timer is a 6th defender, and it seems to me like the Ravens, they're really playing into that kind of meta, that kind of strategy. Play the long game, because they can, and the attackers can't. The fast pace that Coconut like to play, taking the fight to their enemies early on, doesn't really seem to be as applicable to them on attack, because they are being limited in their ability to move around, and they're constantly having to check flank drones or having them popped. And it seems to me like the intelligence game is one of the severe disadvantages for Coconut here. They're just not as well informed.
Yeah, they want to take a lot of gunfights. They're going in and they're relying on mechanical abilities. Now, that's fine until Randy Ravens start warming up. When they do, well, they just start finding a lot of these kills. They're playing a smart game. They're playing together for refrags. We're seeing 9 times out of 10 on the defense. Randy Ravens, as soon as one player dies, there's another one just taking that gunfight, because that's not the right way to play it. You're looking at Coconut Crack. They're taking a lot of gunfights that they don't need to take, realistically. We're seeing a frag grenade being used up by those ADSs. Peak is just saying, well, no, I'm out of frag grenades. We tried to burn the ADSs, it didn't work. We have to rotate around. Jacuzzi, that's going to stay open, closed, and open for the defenders to rotate around. That's a huge position for Randy Ravens to have. Peak will get aggressive on the hatch, looks for a kill, but will not find a player there until Ainu decides to swing.
Such a
with that
slow
Jacuzzi
peak.
wall, Tom. With that Jacuzzi wall as well, he can pull back as soon as he wants, but not before finding a second kill. The rest of Coconut Crack, they're trying to find something. Orca will take control of that cache area, but Havana Pellets then going down to make him rotate in that red stairs. Utilities being used. Orca's going to have to use some to get moving, but not before being taken down by Trash Waifu in that construction. Dictor on the refrag will try and get it and will succeed, but time, the players, yet again, it's just being wasted. Randy Ravens will suddenly lose Ainu and will be evened out, but time with a minute on the clock and the utility to deal with. Diffuser's still on the roof. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
Coconut have to play for frags, or they have to commit a significant amount of time to go get the Diffuser. Call Me Dictor on quite low HP. Well, looking at that, you're looking at Lucky Goods to be that player to lead the charge, and with the Diffuser, that's not what you want. Definitely can play very comfortable and just look towards this large drop. As soon as you hear the drop, you say, okay, get aggressive on the angle. Where else is this Habana going to go? The drop will be heard, the air jab will go down, but Lucky Goods, You don't get to hold angles. You need to start moving in. With 30 seconds left, something's got to happen, and you're going to have to be the person to do it, so get moving. You're seeing Call Me Dictator trying to get aggressive on the door, but nothing's going to work until you move in. Definitely still has a C4, as does Mally. So we're seeing Lucky moving in, trying to take out Mally, will be able to do so, but the retake from Deathly, the C4 goes through.
Lovely.
It finds the kill, it's all down to Dicta, and Deathly closes it out.
Picked that one out the back of the net. He just launches that C4, catches it on the volley, and just picks off the remaining attacker. Things you love to see. What a lovely clutch. Perfectly placed C4. Give him half an hour. And a protractor and a compass and all that. You're not going to find a better place to place it than that, are you? Absolutely fantastic placement. We came off the back of a bit of a disappointing round, really, from Randy Ravens. They got off a couple of quick freebie gimme kills over on top hatch. Peaked, but badly. And then so did Cairo. And iNoob just went, thank you very much for those that free KD. Then did get refragged, but, the damage at that point was done. The diffuser left up top, and it committed Randy Ravens to that very late plant situation. And definitely, IQ say, with the CV, still very much there. Able to just clutch up. Yeah, and almost easy for this prolific fragger. Sitting on the 1.8 KD. But not too shabby. Not too shabby. Things you love to see. And in a situation like that, when you're pulling match point from the fire for your team, you've got to have alarm bells going off on the Coconut roster. Like, I've been paying attention. Do not get me wrong, Adam. I've been paying attention. But when did Randy Ravens hit match point? It's 6-3, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm simply saying, well, iNoob for me has really been one of those key players. I think he's going to be the MVP of Randy Ravens for me. Based on the impact kills that we're finding now, definitely in Trash, they both had incredible impacts in the round. Barney and Mally, they've just been supporting the team incredibly, get crossfires, pick up a couple of kills, but most importantly, apply the pressure. But iNoob constantly gets the advantage for the team, the opening kill, the second opening kill, and playing it smart as well. Coconut Cracked have yet to pick up a single attacking round, and, well, they're going to need to start doing so very, very soon, in my opinion, because I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, well, what do you really have to offer if not aggressive defense? Because you're going on to attack, falling flat on your face each time. The closest round was that last one, and now you're going back to the main side to bring things back. Trash Waifu will have to deal with the Ashes playing down below of Orca, but realize they didn't try and kill him last time he was there. He's just going to put some more bandit charges on that wall. You can use that Ash charge again to get that wall open, but, it's not really going to work out. The breach will be opened up. Trash Waifu will hold that crossfire to rafters, while Coconut Cracked, they're going around to the cache area. Orca will do the vertical play. They're going to start opening things up, and Coconut Cracked, they're bringing something new to the table. Something that Deathly has spotted.
There's a first kill, definitely coming out again with that opening kill. This time onto peak of, an impact player who on attack has been kept so quiet, uncharacteristically quiet. They'll start peeking out, looking for another kill, but they'll get, they won't get overly aggressive. They won't get too hungry for it. They'll back up, they'll deploy their utility like a good defender, like a good Legion, and they'll play the long game because they've got the time to, but they won't be kept quiet with a second frag coming out.
Yes, now we will see Orca coming in with that refrag, but it's constantly the tail of this match. Is Coconut's playing catch-up at this point? Orca moving in will look to find Trash Waifu, but that's not going to be it. Orca will find that kill eventually. Tyro with the diffuser still not there. Orca's doing a ton of legwork to get this map control, and it's just not working. Orca, iNoob has been given that time to take down King Cairo. Orca with the refrag has to find the ace, though. We'll find forward Comrade Barney. Is that a shut things down? Holy moly, what a round. A huge effort from Orca, stepping up, landing the shots, trying something, but the rest of the team, they just couldn't collapse around it. They couldn't do what needed to be done, get the map control and use it, most importantly. And that will be, after a very emotional round from me, Tom, that will be the Randy Ravens picking up, I believe, their first win so far. Let's take a look at that. Actually, yeah, this is their first win and a very convincing fashion. Yeah. Whereas we're seeing Coconut Cracked, well, now they're going 1-2 in win-loss.
Yeah, Peak, stop throwing. Come on.
Yeah, but let's play Peak.
Yeah, let's play Peak. Yeah, it's the easy thing to do, isn't it? What a round from Orca. Doing what she can, just grabbing a team by the scruff of the neck and dragging them to the finish line. Unfortunately, they do fall short, so you can only manage a 4K. Only a 4K. Listen to me. Unfortunately, not able to actually clutch out the round and the match in the way that she would have wanted. But finishing, going from 7-8 to 7-7 to 11-8 in the course of one round, that's not bad going. I think that was indicative of a couple of wider issues with the Coconut team. They started so strongly. They were aggressive, dominant. In defense, they couldn't be shifted. But then all of a sudden, Randy Ravens, they just picked up around. And like I said halfway through, I was watching the game. Do you know what I mean? I do promise. I was watching the game. When did it turn into 6-3? Where did Ravens find that? Where did they find it? It came out of absolutely nowhere, didn't it?
I've got to be honest. I look at that round and I look at the match and I say simply, well, I think the issues that you were talking about is something I need to come into and say, well, Coconut Crack, they weren't performing as a team, in my opinion. The big issue for them was 100% on defense. Well, it didn't show as much because they didn't play together as much. They got aggressive, they found kills, and they pulled back to side. It's a very simple thing to do. But as soon as you go into the attack, well, you've got to set up crossfires. You have to be able to deal with problems in the defending lineup. That just wasn't happening. They were playing for solo plays rather than as a whole team. They were going, I think the last round, it sums it up completely. You saw Orca run in and find 4 kills, and Cairo's still repelling on the breach, trying to get onto site. There is no actual... They're not taking advantage of what they've got. That's the big issue. They're finding advantages, but they're wasting them away at the end of the day. And I don't think that's just because Pete came into the roster. I think there's a big issue for Coconut Craig that they need to address moving forward. Congratulations to Randy Ravens, though. They were the opposite, realistically. They lost a couple of rounds on attack, but they had coordination. They worked as a unit. They got crossfires. They found advantages, and they knew what they needed to do to compound them. Going on to the defense, well, then, like I said, it's that natural play style. You get advantage, you draw down. You buckle down into the site. You set up crossfires. You play off each other. You refrag. Randy Ravens does a very good game from them, and one that you expect to see in Buell moving forward. So, congratulations to them.
Yeah, very much congratulations to them. They just took a very dominant victory, didn't they? 7-3 it was at the end. And honestly, there's not really too much more I can add to that. McCready.LFO as a coach. When's that going to happen? I know you're LFT, but you could definitely.
No, I'm not looking for a team. If you've looked at my Twitter recently, I've gone to LFC because there's a bit of an issue with the Liquipedia. Well, I was doing the UKIN 2 calls. The story behind it is very simple. I did the UKIN 2 calls, and the Liquipedia editor was doing a lot of work, to be fair to him. He did a great job. But he ended up putting in Much Creedy instead of McCready, and there wasn't a country assigned. So I was like, Twitter posts, I'm looking for country now. But the main thing I really want to talk about is looking at that round. Randy Ravens, they're showing a lot of improvement in a very short space of time, Tom. That's a very good thing moving forward. We're only in week 3, and they were able to start putting some of these mid-place teams on their back in a very comfortable fashion. So that begs the question, moving forward, what are we going to see from them? Can they deal with the likes of Lockdown Ludens and Imperium of Mandem? Who knows?
Yeah, that's it. First game of week 3, they're going to jump from being on 1 point to being on 4 points, and they'll leapfrog several teams up into position 5. Not in the green, not in those top spots.
Not yet.
But what improvement, and it's hopefully indicative of big things to come from that roster. Moving forwards, we have got a couple more games coming up for you. That is you don't get away that easily. We have got 2 more fantastic games coming up for you today. So I think you should stick around for more Buell action.
Hello, and welcome back to the Badass University All-Stars. I'm McCready, seemingly a staple of this league, and you know what? There's nowhere else I'd rather be. But joining me today is going to be Delta Bacon. Welcome back. We've just seen a really nice game from the Randy Ravens and Coconut Cracked. I hope I got all the coconuts in there. Welcome back. Moving in from that first game, going on to the second one, what are we expecting? What are we thinking of? Because it's a big one, isn't it? Well, we've had a wonderful NA mic moment. So, Delta, now that you've had a nice moment to rehearse what you just said, what did you say?
What I said was one thing I'm hoping for is less substitutions of Peak into the roster, because it clearly didn't help Coconut Cracked there, did it? But you know what a performance there! Yeah, big oof in my ear from
very
Science,
happy to hear about your
by the way,
retirement from Boole.
Who, by the way, Science did say just before we came back, just so that he has to make good on this offer, that he would smooch whoever it was that would pick Chalet as a map.
Yeah.
He would smooch that team. Whether that was one collective smooch for all 5 members or 5 individual smooches, that yet remains to be seen. We'll expect him to put a post out on Twitter, a little press release. But yeah, hopefully we see some Chalet coming up. That'll be quite nice. But what a match we've got coming up for you now. We're going to have the rosters coming up through in just a moment, and what a smorgasbord of talent we've got here. A lack of ability to speak English on my behalf as well, apparently, but we're seeing here a lot of players from the same universities. We're seeing Angelix and the Dob over from Staffs. We're seeing Proctork and Gady over on the Minotaurs, and of course the Edge Hill representatives there from in the form of Benji and KK. There's a lot of synergy between these teams. They know how other members in their team play, and it'd be interesting to see if they do pair off into these roles, or if they actually integrate with the rest of the team. We saw Scipio last week have an absolute blinder of a game, almost pulling IOM out of the fire in that 7-5 defeat to Team Triton. Unable to, unfortunately, but a lot of talent on display. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah. Now, Delta, the main thing I want to talk about right now is Lockdown Ludens is the only team in Boole Season 2 that has retained its roster through both seasons. So this team, they've got a lot of experience playing together. They know each other like the back of their hand, and they actually won the grand final of the first round. Meaning this is a team that is very competent, they're very comfortable. In the last season, they started out very strong, and they were able to pick quite a few teams off very early on, like I said, winning that round in the end. But if I get a look at the standings right now, coming up for Lockdown Leaders, currently second. A win here could put them in very, very good position to take a win, especially if Chimp Hunters aren't able to win out their game this week. So let's take a look at the map bans. Where are we going to go? Because I think there's a lot of that's going to really decide where we are. The auto bans coming out will be Villa and Clubhouse, so we won't be seeing the same map we saw before. But now that 2 weeks has elapsed, the little timer, Oregon's going to be making a reappearance, Tom. Shockingly enough, I want to hear your excited Oregon voice.
Whoa, Oregon. Let's go. But you know what? It's a map on which people play Siege, so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be the talent to make it exciting for us. Unfortunately, we're not going to be getting that live footage of Science. Did I just say it was live? Well, it's going to be live anyway. When Science smooches everyone for taking Chalet, that is yet to be seen, unfortunately. But Oregon, strong map, strong players, strong strategy, strong sites. Ultimately, it's going to come down to who can click heads harder, because as we've said, strategy perhaps isn't going to be the strong suit of any of these teams. They've not had the chance to synergize, to train together. It's going to be an out-and-out dogfight between these two teams.
I mean, I'm gonna say in favor of Lockdown Ludens, one of their big issues in the last season was that strategy. It was the case of they relied a lot on mechanical ability, didn't really get many strats down, and that's where they suffered in the late game, when a lot of the other teams started to bring up their strategy and their tactics and how they wanted to play the game. So Lockdown Ludens, if they really want to have an impact this season, that's the thing they need to improve on, and I think it's something that they are able to bring to the table, which is why I'm very excited to see us getting in right now. The Imperium of Mandem, though, they're also a very strong team, so going into Oregon, I'm not expecting them to have any issues at all, to be honest, because, well, you think about it, and, okay, Imperium of Mandem, they've come in one of the favourites of the team, and I think the name also kind of strikes a little bit of favour with yourself as well. I know you're a bit of a fan of the Warhammer reference, but the main thing for me is the roster on that board. They are very talented players. I don't think I can make a prediction very, very early on, but I think as long as the strategic play comes out from both teams, we're in for a really good game.
Yes, we really are. And one advantage that the Lockdown Ludens will have in that regard is that they have all played together. They have played in Season 1. So they surely, will have had a few casuals. They'll have had a few unranks. Maybe even joined a rank stack together. Who knows? They'll have had these chances to play and integrate. Have they taken advantage of that? Who knows? At the moment, their standings, third in the standings currently, as you said. They're not doing too bad. They're up there, and they're very able to compete strongly, as evidenced by their previous, previous performance last season. But what we're going to get through soon now is those all-important operator bans, and again, in a shocking twist of fate that absolutely nobody ever would have predicted, Thatcher is going to be removed from the board, confirming that these teams have an anti-Yorkshire bias.
Yes. Now, Jackal being removed away, not the Maverick I kind of expected, and I think that definitely speaks into the Ludens' playstyle on their defense. It's going to come down to that roam game. It's going to come down to being able to have that freedom of movement that Jackal just denies completely and unbiasedly. Just says, no roamers, I will deal with you. If we see any footprints, we'll go for that vertical play. Cade will stay on the board, with that Mitre being taken away. Now, Imperium of Mandem, they do have the opportunity to remove it, and if they do, well, then they're going to shoot themselves in the foot on the defense. Going on to the attack, they might not. Goyo going to be taken away, and I think a big thing to take into account here, without that Maverick ban, Cade is a lot less useful. A big thing for me is what I want to see Imperium of Mandem doing on the bottom floor, top floor hold. You have that hatch open into Athic, suddenly you shut down the Maverick. If you kill the Maverick, you've made life a lot easier. That Cade Claw stays on the board, you force the attackers into very, very deadly crossfires, very lethal kill boxes. That's what I want to see. But we are going to be heading to that bottom floor first, which is something that I'm very interested to see. Now, in the Ludens, they might not be expecting this. A lot of teams want to go to that top floor, that main bunk area, which doesn't surprise me. But coming to the bottom floor, it's going to offer that roam potential. Like I said, Scipio, going from that bandit to the Vigil, it basically says, when you see the bandit, okay, they need utility on that wall. With the Cade, they don't need to worry about it so much. So the Vigil, no Jackal ban, remember, Tom? Well, suddenly, there's a lot of opportunities for the Imperium of Mandem to just shut them down.
Yeah, no, there really, really is. A lot of teams, like you say, they'll expect to go upstairs. Very much the preferred site for most teams since Oregon got reintroduced after the rework a couple of seasons back. And, with expert aplomb, these teams, they very quickly adapted methodologies for taking and holding that top site. So going bottom site, I think, is a very good play from IOM against a team that maybe has worked and refined their strategies. So I think it's a very good play from them to perhaps throw them off their strategies a little bit early, maybe sneak around in round one, where they otherwise don't expect to. Lockdown Ludens, a lot of strong players on this roster, as we said. Giobu there, up the Liverpool La, as he posted in chat. Very strong player. I'm wondering why they banned out the Goyo though, because Gyobu plays with Reverse, who on Goyo, on this site, on this map rather, is just, chef's kiss.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of theory crafting on this. Well, simply put, your attackers, you might not want to bring so much soft destruction, which, well, that's not the case at the moment. You look at the Ashe, Sophia, and Yana. Well, with a Goyo on the board, that just wastes a lot of time. That's something that you don't want to see when your team is based on aggression, which the Ludens are. That's my thought behind it, at least.
Very possibly, but I'm also thinking that maybe Gyobu, they've played with Reverse, they know exactly how difficult a Goyo can be to handle, so not only does it waste the utility, as you say, but it's just a very strong operator, as has been proven. But Gyobu, they're not going to have a chance to prove it, as they're going to remove from the board. Scipio there, refragged by Proctor, so, it's not an immediate loss, but it is the loss of a strong fragging operator and a strong fragger in the form of Gyobu. So a bit unfortunate in the start for them that they didn't manage to escape cleanly. 4v4 with about half the round gone, and we haven't really seen too much aggression onto the side. Yes, have we?
No, because the main thing Ludens need to do is get control of Meeting. Angelix will lose the game and immediately disappear in a puff of smoke like a ninja. Something that Ludens might not be aware of. In doing so, Imperium of Mandem, they've suddenly lost the Pillar's control. They're forced into that plant denial position very early on. Frag grenades will start going through and putting pressure on DJ7, and in doing so, well, you look at Ludens. That refrag came out and they got him a kill as well. What we saw a big issue being was that kill in Meeting. Suddenly, you're seeing Proctor saying, well, I need to roam clear. That attic hatch is open. There's still potential for roam. Now there's not. The defenders need to be on site because this execute can come through at any second. Rose will use that smoke canister on themselves and will just play very, very safe, hoping to catch somebody off guard. Katie will start getting aggressive, will be taken down by Rose, playing by that bomb chassis, and Rose will find another one actually. Now we're seeing IOM. They're very condensed, but DJ7's gonna get a kill. Benji, a little bit more condensed, has to come through that freezer doorway or rotate around. Doesn't have the diffuser, doesn't have a chance in hell as it stands with a utility and guns on the board.
Yeah, they are top of the leaderboard after Playday, after Playdays 1 and 2 for a reason. And that's because they can condense like this. And look at the disadvantages that they've had so far as well. Benji, not going to be able to do much. Like you say, not a hope of getting through this Iowan defense. And look at what they had to bounce back from. They lost the early, they didn't get the early game roaming that they wanted to do. However, they did, what they did do is bounce back very strongly from that unexpected disappearance of their player. We are having a little pause in the game now, just while we get in. You saw there in the chat perhaps that Rose requested that, and let's talk about Rose. 2 kills very early on, lovely stuff, and Rose a very capable player. Like, something that I wrote down is that in Playday 1 they had a KD of 2.5. You don't get that by being a slouch on the old joystick or whatever these high level players use. I stick with the mouse, but I still can't hit head. So clearly that's something that's going amiss there. But very prolific fragger and going to be very important in leveling the balance for for this team.
I'm going to ask the mods in chat, can we get another prediction going? Who's older, Jerry or Delta? Because at the moment they've both been shown their age in the past week or so. So, sorry Tom, but I've got to call you out a little bit. But the big thing for me, realistically, like you said about Rose, was being able to find those kills. Suddenly, well, you're not only evening that man count, but you're getting another kill on the board. You're shutting down an attack, and a lot of momentum in that attack is just gone at that point. That's the big thing for me, because you're looking at Freezer. That's essentially the only way left to push, and in doing so, well, it's not a great position to be in. The diffuser down, 30 seconds left. You've got to go through Freezer door, otherwise you're screwed. That's exactly what we saw. Screwed. Also, though, I do want to talk about that roam game. It didn't come in great, because we did see the Vigil find a kill onto Gyobu, but Proctor immediately there with a refrag. Well, I think the big impact of that was Proctor was thinking, well, if I've already killed a player here, they might have a very aggressive roam, because why is this player feeling so comfortable to swing this door? Well, immediately you go into Meeting and you see the hatch is open. Your Maverick is also down in Blue Bunker, might I add as well. That hatch, it's gonna take a while to get taken out. By the time you've cleared out the area and you've decided it's safe and you bring your Maverick around, you've wasted a lot of time. Lockdown Ludens instead, they opted to just push through, try and find the kills. It came down to Rose to really just stunt that aggression. And then, well, it's just a case of crossfires. As you saw, we just saw a player stuck in freezer, and that was completely it. The round was over. The question is, can we see this moving forward into that Kids Dorm site, where it's going to be a lot more simpler, in my opinion, for the attackers. They brought all the tools that they needed to go for a top floor hold take because, well, that's probably what they expected. Bring it again, play it a little bit tighter. That early gunfight needs to be won. You're very lucky to get that even man count thanks to Angelix disconnecting. Don't count on it again.
Yeah, and you know, let's come back to that because it came to a wider issue where they weren't droning to clear. They were face checking everything at the start, and whilst there wasn't the roam game there to actually punish them for it, it did waste a lot of their time. You know, and at the end, IOM, they were able to just collapse in, hold their angles, and really dominate in that late game stage because they had all that all that time banked up. You know what I mean? They had taken all that time away from the attackers and just, accepted it as their own, and very, very strong from them. We are still just waiting for that player to get reconnected. So I'm going to have to put up with myself and Adam's faces a little bit, unfortunately. But there we go. That's what always likes to see. The Caster's Curse coming in. I should say we're going to be waiting longer more often because Caster's Curse strikes and we're back into the game.
Yeah, now, looking at this, we're going to that Kids Storms, and with Angelix reappearing, well, it makes me think, Imperium of Mandem, that was a very nice defending round at the start. Can you deliver upon that? Can you have that little bit more energy in there, in that hold? If you're able to do that, well, suddenly Ludens, they're going to be facing a deficit of 2 rounds, and then they think about kitchen dining. If we see aggression from Imperium of Mandem, which can match Ludens, and just ultimately Ludens not deal with the basic issues that have been plaguing them in that first round, well then I'm expecting Imperium of Mandem to go very, very far. Looking at this setup, we're not seeing anything really too unusual that we shouldn't expect to see. We're seeing ADSs, Banshee Malusis, they'll be put down on the doorways, looking to shut down the aggression, and you see that smoke there. Valkyrie on the board, though, something we didn't see in the first game, will allow that information for potential C4s from below. A lot of this floor, Tom, is quite soft. So C4s on the side of IOM can have a huge impact. That's going to be down to DJ7 and Scipio to bring onto the board. The rest of the team, though, they're going to be hoping that it doesn't get to that point. Because if you're trying to stop a plant with a C4, something's gone wrong. Ludens, though, they'll probably opt for that 2-pronged attack.
Yeah, it's something that I know you love saying. You know, you have to have a 2-pronged attack attacking this top site, and it's absolutely true. You must be able to encircle the enemy because otherwise you're funneling yourself into certain kill holes. You know, certain just little areas where it's almost impossible to actually push through without being challenged from a dominant position. You see there, Ben picking up a lovely kill over onto Proctor, taking their head off early on, and that's an early frag without much actually happening on behalf of the Ludens. They've not aggressed onto sites, they've not, pushed in or through over onto, even adjacent to the site really at this stage. And they've already been punished. They've been put on notice.
Yes. Now, a frag grenade will be taken away by the ADS. Benji will just be holding that position very, very comfortably, not to be confused with the Benji of the lockdown side. Benji will be heading down below the Yana. I'm just going to call it that. I'm just going to call it the operators, because it's just so much easier to know what's going on. Ludens, they will start droning and will stop burning ADSs. Angelix and Melusi, they have a huge opportunity to really step up and get that crossfire going. But Ludens, they're not going to want to aggress until they have complete control. KK is going to start things off finding that first kill though, and the Gon 6 will ring out. DG7, very low HP. Benji on the white says, and a player on the big window of Gady. Well, that's just going to make life that little bit harder, but not too hard as Scipio's able to find a kill. Rose very quick to answer with another one as DJ7 will be taken down. We're starting to see Ludens. They're starting to get bottlenecked. Angelix, hold this attic. You're in a great position. You could shut down the push. The smoke canister onto the breach. Well, that's the attention shifting towards JD door, or trophy door as I know it. Angelix, gonna do some damage, gonna not get punished at all, and suddenly 38 seconds on the clock. Ludens, what can they do?
Not much as it happens, as Rose is going to take Jobu's head off, going to leave it down to KK on a sliver of health to try and clutch up in a 1v3, and, you know, not one that you would back them to take. But strange things have happened. They're going to start poking and probing, because I think in a clutch situation, it allows a player to just express themselves and be a bit more free, but rather KK is going to hide there in the closet. Not yet hold an angle, but they're going to pick off Rose, but they're going to blindly charge into a door and straight into Angelix, who says, no thank you, and slams the door on them.
I think what we're seeing, Tom, is we're seeing the same issue we saw in the last game, and we saw Lockdown Ludens are taking a couple of one-on-one gunfights that don't really favor them. Now, a huge thing was DJ7 for me. As soon as DJ7 got taken down, we saw Gady and Joby. They wanted to get aggressive. They wanted to start pushing through, and in doing so, well, that's where the issue really lay. They started pushing through. We saw one kill coming out on the flank from Scipio onto Proctor, I believe, in the White Stairs. We also saw the aggression coming out from the Capitao. Wanting to capitalize on this, you get a kill in double bunks, you've lost a player on White Stairs. So you vault in big window. Well, when you think about what I've just said, what areas have just been cleared out, where the kills have taken place, you forget that Kid Storms. And you forget that Rose is holding an SMG-11. That's where that kill came out. Suddenly that two-pronged attack, it didn't exist. IOM, they shift their attention over towards Kid Storms. That's life just being made so much more easier. Rose, with one of the 3 C4s on the board, will be making a rotate into showers. Kitchen dining, this is the round for Ludens to really start putting rounds on the board. They need to at this point, because if they don't, well, they're going to be going into they're going to go into another rotation at a 3-round deficit. They're going to have to go to the bottom floor and the top floor again and try and do something different to win it out. This is the opportunity to at least get something.
Exactly. You know, they're on defense, and they you know, they're doing well. Imperium Man, they're on their way to that optimum 4-2 split in defense that you would like to see. But as you say, Ludens struggling quite a bit. They need to pick up a round and just stymie this Imperium Mandem aggression, because at the moment Imperium Mandem, they're picking up the other kills, they're in the lead, they're confident, and they're clearly here ready for a fight, ready for a bit of a brawl. Seems to me like Ludens not quite hitting their pace yet.
Yeah, that's a big issue for them at the moment, because like I said, they're on the attack, yes. Going on to the defense, if you're able to win 3 rounds and then go into the defense, well, you're in a great position. But the big problem really does lie with the fact that you're risking Imperium Mandem getting that early start. Ludens, though, they will be looking for a typical push into this kids, just to get that out of their mind and just focus on the round ahead. Benji will get that rotation potential for the team. You will see that closet wall open up. Gady and Proctor, they have opportunity to rotate. Ludens, they have a lot of opportunity to take this top floor and can do it very simply. Play for refrags, find the kills, and you should be good. C4 potential will be taken away just a little bit by that Valkyrie cam being taken away, but right now you're seeing Scipio and Angelix, they've got a very nice crossfire. They're not over-peaking because they know as soon as the other defenders start shooting, that's when they strike, and Scipio is going to find that first kill. Angelix nearly got it, but well, you'll be able to find KK as well. Suddenly stalling out the Ludens, suddenly saying, this push isn't going to work. As soon as you take top floor control, we have the player advantage, we're going to collapse onto you. Giobu and Benji are inside, but they still need to deal with Scipio, and then they don't even know that Angelix and Scipio have fallen back. That's the big issue for them. They're trying to take control of somewhere where, well, Ludens, they have control. Imperium Mandem, they just have to hold angles. They don't have to do anything big at the moment. They've already done a lot of the legwork.
Yeah, and they've set themselves in good stead, you know, to hold the rest of the round. They don't need to be aggressive anymore. They've got the man advantage. They've played very well, Angelix, with those pair of kills. And now they can just play their own game. Benji, they're going to have something to say, getting down onto the Jaeger. Now the kill comes through, putting it into a 3v4, but still everything yet to do. And with 40 seconds left on the clock, they've got a mountain, not a molehill, to climb here. It's gonna be very tough for them. Let's not let's not mince our words. It's gonna be tough for them, and we're gonna see Scipio coming here, lurking, finding a kill over onto Thermite. They'll also prevent the breach. That's absolutely golden. And just to top it off, there's the diffuser. Where is the refrag? Where's the push? Benji will do what they can to bring control back from the round, but they've now got to frag out because Scipio has control of diffuser. 2v2 Giobu will level it up, taking out Rose. That prolific frag, but Scipio will pick up a frag, and DJ7 will finish it off. Imperium Mandem with not quite the dominant round that we would have expected 30 seconds ago, but a win nonetheless. And it's not about how you get those Ws, it's the fact that you do get them. Another victory for the defense.
Yeah, now the big thing for me was Scipio being able to find that thermite so easily. You were able to find that kill, you stopped that breach going through. Suddenly, granted, Ludens, they took good control of the site, but that was the big issue. They didn't have a diffuser, they didn't have a map control to really compound that, and they couldn't rotate around. A lot of time had been wasted. The big issue being, well, you saw the thermite Benji playing all by themselves, I believe it was. So, in that position, you have two players, they're trying to get control of site, doesn't matter, Scipio plays it safe. The more that they commit to clearing the actual site itself and playing for frags, the longer Scipio has to just clean house and just hold deep, play it safe, get the round, win. That was a huge position to be in, and Imperium of Mandem, one rotation successfully completed. Can they make it two? Now this time, last time we saw it, they found a very aggressive kill on the Swamp Thor. Very nice from them. Then that forced Ludens to be very careful about this room clear. The big thing, the biggest thing that I want to see is Angelix's impact. Because coming into the game, you see a couple of kills and quite a few assists. But in that round, Angelix lost control of the barrel store. In doing so, you gave Ludens a lot of momentum, which IOM then had to stand back with. What's going to happen now that Angelix is here and able to play this position aggressively, Tom?
Well, you see there, they've got the utility. One thing that is going to very much help is not disconnecting midway through a round, such as in round one, not disappearing in a flash of smoke. That would also, that would have an impact. The roam grain didn't really have that much impact, did it? Over in round one, it didn't really help too much. Here we're seeing Scipio commit a lot more heavily to it, as a Legion no less, which is, perhaps a little bit risky. But we are going to see those Legion mines being placed in locations that perhaps the attackers won't be expecting. 30 seconds in, we're seeing the drone game coming out heavily. Ludens, they've been put on notice. No aggression onto site, not just yet, just drone. Get that information. But the thing is, and it's something that you say to me a lot, because, I do joke about your calls, some of which I do apologise for, but
fine.
Information is only as good as the second it's given. After that, it's out of date. So it's a bit pointless droning for a full minute before you do anything, because that information's gone. It's useless after it's been called.
Angelix is just holding his position right here. He doesn't have to get that aggressive. He's going to move to Harry Potter. And I think that's a nice position to take up now that you have KK and Benji. They have control of meeting. They're able to start Maverick and Hatch, but they don't have the Maverick on the board. They need to bring that hard breach around in the form of Jobu. In doing so, they lose a lot of opportunities for this elbow, for this E-box control, and they've committed the ace down there, and Hatch is going to stay shut. Proctor, though, is going to be able to find a kill onto DJ7, but how much impact is it going to have in Freezer? The Legion Mine will be taken away. Scipio will find a kill onto Benji. Time is ticking down, and 4 versus 4. Proctor, though, is now alone in Freezer, trying to open up a second angle of attack. Ludens, so they'll be trying to take control of this Pillars area, and Gady can find a kill onto Angelix, but Angelix, well, I think the jig is up. He knows exactly where they are. He knows there's a player there, and he goes to the swing. He catches Gady in the reload, and he just plays it safe. Proctor has to push up to distract him at this point, and Jobu, well, you're just in a position to fail, just like Gady was. Reloads will come out, rotates will take place, and Jobu kind of wondering what to do at this point. You're alone, but you'll get those cave claws. You'll rotate around, you'll start opening lines of sight. Proctor will find a kill onto Scipio, removing the head there, as KK does some damage to Rose. And 3 versus 3 opportunities are on the board and will be start compounded as Jobu finds a kill, but Rose gets that answer. Jobu, well, now you're realizing 30 seconds left, you're going to have to push. Angelix with the swing is going to find it, and now we're in the same position as last time we were here. Proctor, outmanned, is going to be down in this freezer. Will just about get that shield, but has to push through that choke point. All guns are going to be looking there. Angelix's pre-fire isn't going to get it. Rose will shut down the round for Imperium of Mandem. 4 rounds on the board. We need to see the Ludens pick up 2 if they realistically want anything on their defense. The momentum, it's dangerously in the Imperium of Mandem's favor, because going on to attack, they're just going to ride with it at this point.
Yeah, and, we saw at the end there exactly the same situation. Proctor, unable to aggress further beyond that freezer, much as Iana in round 1. and exactly the same results. And I think that a lot of that came from Ludens, to be completely honest with you. You know, they took so much time droning. Like, I love a bit of intel. You know what I mean? I love callouts as much as the next person, especially if they're yours, Greedy. But honestly, they took far too long setting themselves up for the attack. They wasted so much time. In the end, it fell down to Jobu to facilitate his own breaches. Like, he had to push in, riskily take out and 2 Cade charges all of their own accord. And you can't, you know, you've got to have a bit more synergy than that. And it's unfortunate for the Ludens because, you know, we know they've got the quality. You know, they're currently sitting third in the table for a reason. They are bloody good at Siege. But at the moment, we're just not seeing it. And Imperium and Mandem are walking all over them.
Yeah, and looking to get back up to that first place spot because it is very possible for them at the moment. They can close things down, shut Lockdown Ludens out from that second place spot, and just say, okay, right, let's get this together. This is all to play for because this is deciding that top table about halfway through, a good pace through the week's progression so far. Return to the top floor though, IOM, they will have that control of Kids Dorms. They're looking to at least have a 5-1 split if this round goes properly. And if we look at that last round, well, there's a lot of reason to assume it will. Scipio on the roam game yet again. Doesn't surprise me at all. He's able to find a huge impact kill and do killing that player on white. Well, suddenly you're seeing a player push in through big window with no support, which is where Rose was able to pick up a kill. IOM, they will have to deal with a big tower push coming out with the Axe Charges finally finding the utility on the wall. 2 of them have been taken away, so we're going to see a little bit harder time clearing out utility. Doesn't matter though, a C4 will go out from that Attic player. Won't find a kill, Rose will pull back, and an ADS will catch that frag grenade. Angelix rotates around, brings an ADS just to make life out a little bit more easier. Proctor's on the roam though, on the roam clear. He's looking, he knows Scipio is a problem. He wants to deal with it. But right now, Imperium of Mandem sitting pretty. They still have that attic control. They still have the drop down. And now, well, there's no frag grenades to really clear them out. Scipio's able to find a kill onto KK. Proctor will want to hunt down on that roam clear, but has to deal with this utility on the closet wall first. The rotate from the entirety of the Ludens hints at some issues as Proctor's able to finally get that bandit.
Yeah, and you know, they just don't seem able to adapt so far. You know, they're picking up a couple of refresh, but they're not adapting to the different operators that are being brought rapidly enough to be terribly effective. You know, they're at 4-4, but as it stands, Imperium Mandem, they're winning their ones. And, you know, I hate to boil Siege down, reduce it to its most base of components, but when you do break it down, they're just winning their ones, and Ludens aren't. Maybe this is the round where that changes. Maybe they're going to be able to push through, but Benji certainly won't be. Not in this round, anyway.
The better Ben rearing his head for now. Proctor will find an answer, looks to get a double onto Rose, but just can't make the shots land. That information will be called out on that bulletproof camera, giving Rose the perfect moment saying, peek now, or don't peek. Ben in this position still has a Banshee and an ADS. You know exactly when they peek. Don't worry about your back so much. Oh, that is not going to get caught. Ben is going to take down Gady as well. Just not even having to move a muscle. Jobu with that pick will be called out, and Proctor will have to try and push through to bring things back. Ben getting down, and the rotate will come from Rose. Imperium of Mandem, I'm mincing my words, but they're not mincing their plays. They're coordinating around each other. They're just shutting down any opportunity the Ludens want of picking up a round. And suddenly, we're facing the very worrying prospect of them going on to match point unanswered, Tom. A dominant side from them.
Yeah, is it too early for an exterminatus joke? You know, maybe let's see round 6. If they pick up round 6, I think we can drop a few references to the Imperium man. But yeah,
it was going to happen with you on the cast, dude. Let's be honest.
Oh, it is. You know it is. I watched Luton far too much to not do it. But there we go. You know, speaking of the team themselves, it's just dominant at this stage. It really is. You know, they're winning their ones. They're hitting their heads. You know, they're roaming aggressively, and Ludens just completely beaten all ends up. You know, not able to cope with it in any way, shape, or form. They banned out the Jackal. Maybe they should have taken it. Maybe they really should have taken the Jackal, because at the moment their roam game, their roam clearing, abysmal. You know, we've seen
It's been rough.
an occasional refrag, but I don't think on their own game at any point have they actually achieved like a net positive KD. And you're seeing these players suddenly work it up. You're seeing Rose fresh from a bit of a weak week. There we go. We've coined a new term, ladies and gentlemen. A weak last week. They're bouncing back. Currently on in excess of a 3. I think it's a 3.5 KD that is there. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. From a 2.5 KD in week 1. So you've got that nice natural progression. You got Scipio just doing Scipio things and killing people left, right, and centre. The rest of the team all backing them up. There's not a single negative KD on that orange side. Conversely, look at the Ludens. They're struggling. They're looking to their power players to really turn up. And it's just not happening for them. You can't do this. You cannot do that at this level. You've got to really knuckle down and play your own game. You can't rely on your proxies to just frag out, because at this level, although you are expected to be able to win your ones, relying on one person to just smack everyone else about, it's just not going to work. 2 minutes on the clock now, and Luden's still alarmingly slow at pushing.
I'm really not surprised by this approach that they've taken. They've instead opted to take control of that mini tower. They've got that thermite charge. They've put it on the wall and they've ripped it open. They don't need to worry about utility. The explosion radius is enough to create that hole you see on your screen. They've decided we're not going to put all our eggs in one basket. We're not going to try and take control of kids. We're going to take the mini tower, get a plan, and deal with their retake when it happens. Proctor, though, is with Benji. They're going for a very, very, very careful push just to apply pressure at the right time. But Benji will fire a shot, give the name a give the game away. We'll find a kill onto Scipio, though, catches that Roma, and we'll just say, no, we're not going to worry about that. Benji rotating around to the rest of the Luden's attacks. Suddenly, well, if they can take control of the showers, they'll be in a good position to get a plant down. But that relies on a lot of issues. Proctor taking control of security will just say, well, you got to deal with me now. The question is he able to deal with Angelix? Maybe, but not with Ben. Able to find that kill. Suddenly, the Ludens, they're playing at a player deficit as the kill comes out onto Benji. Rose will be taken down, though. Suddenly, a 3 versus 3. Make that 3 versus 2. Gady's able to find another kill. The plant will start to go down and edge up will be triggered. DJ has that C4. Will look to move through. Angelix finding Gady. And now it's a 2 versus 2. DJ isn't able to get that kill and get the swing before the diffuser stops going down. So the push is coming out from Angelix. Able to find a kill. Now it's all down to KK in mini tower. The free fire comes out. Doesn't land his shots. And will be taken out by the flank. Imperial Commander 6-0 on their defensive half. DJ will get that diffuser. And we're thinking, Ludens, there are some key issues. What is happening here? Why are all the things that are going right just not working out? We're seeing them take control of security, open up another line of sight. Proctor got aggressive on there. And then we were also seeing that opening kill come in favor. They're getting the wall open. They didn't take shower control. Ludens, there are a lot of issues on here that I'm not liking the look of. You need to iron them out, and now you need to play a perfect game.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is a 5v1, v1, 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 v1. We're seeing one team demolishing 5 randoms. That's what it feels like at this stage. And that's quite cutting, it's quite scathing, and it's also very true at this stage, because look at that. They have swept their defensive half 6-0. This is lockdown Ludens. They're second or third in the table. They're up there. We're expecting them to hit the finals. And it's just not happening for them at all. And this is not something that you or I perhaps would have predicted. We'd have maybe expected Ludens to put up a strong fight, maybe take it to 3-3 in IOM's defensive half, not get swept. And that's what Twitch chat thought as well. I mean, if we have a quick look at over at what the poll spat out, 84% of the points that were put onto that poll were for the lockdown Ludens. How foolish must you feel? Lockdown Ludens, off the back of let's not mince our words, shockingly poor offensive half. Now they've got to play the perfect game of Siege. And it's not going to help that they've just taken half the elf off Gady, their Jaeger, who we're going to be looking to roam, who isn't going to be protected as such by cover. They're going to be very dynamic, and now they're at a bit of a disadvantage in a game where 2 for 6, they've not been winning their ones. You can't start a round like this. It couldn't get much worse for them, to be honest. DJ said, I love this spot. Adam, take us through this spot, mate. You taught me it.
It's a pixel angle onto that bunker door. You make sure that if there's anybody trying to hold an angle onto anyone trying to get exactly where Rose is, if there's someone playing in that position, well, there isn't. They can't. You have that issue, that area. It's very easy to get a kill. It's very difficult to be killed from. It's a pixel angle for the defenders, and they also need to expose themselves to the regular angle as well. But the Ludens, they're not going to expose themselves at all. Now, Giobu and KK, these are the players I really need to step up if Ludens want to win. These are the two players that will be able to clutch out a round. If they're not popping off, they're not winning rounds, simply put. IOM, they have a very careful control. They are starting to shoot through that pillars. The frag grenade will push Proctor back that little bit. And while the meeting control is going to be got very early on, Angelic's able to find out opening kill. Will take down Benji. Proctor taking quite a bit of damage. Also forced to pull back. Blue has been given without any time really being wasted, it feels, and we're seeing Meeting taking control of already. Suddenly, Ludens, they're not looking comfortable. They're not looking warm. They're looking very disjointed, like you said. A 5 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. I think that's enough. Doesn't really matter. IOM, this hatch is going to get open, no problem. There's no roam game to really cause an issue because we saw Benji getting aggressive. They'd have to commit a player from that bottom floor, and if they do, well, that's just a key. The attackers start moving through. Your aggression has been good, IOM. So, take control of it if they try and get that roam game. Regardless, though, we are seeing a smoke grenade being taken by that magnet from the Wamai. A lot of utility going through to clear out that elbow position. And, well, Rose is currently playing on the Maverick, so doesn't really have an issue. That's going to get opened up. You still have the ace on the board. Scipio pushing down to pillars is looking to just shut things down, but not before Angelix is able to find another kill. Time is ticking down in IOM. They're looking unbeatable at the moment when it comes to trying to shut this down and get those 3 points on the board. KK will be taking a kill onto Rose, but is it enough at this point? As Proctor's knocked down in that long corridor, Giobi trying to stem away the attack, but is also in a horrible position up against this single door.
Yeah, it's all coming apart for the lockdown Ludens. All down to Jobu. Prolific fragger. We know they can do it for Liverpool, but they are caught in a horrible spot. That corner with no cover whatsoever. They
What?
Okay, Hibana with an interesting push, but it won't matter. Bennett getting a shotgun to the back of the head, but Scipio walks in, has a look about, finds the head, and there we go. That is a sweep. A sweep? Where did that come from? A sweep for Imperium and Mandem. That's ridiculous. Lockdown Ludens, they're going to be walking away very disappointed from that. 7-0. Get out. That's ridiculous. And look at some of them scoreboard statistics as well. You know, you see players with KDs like 4.5 in the case of the Lockdown Ludens. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't be seeing that at this level, I don't think. You know, it's scathing. It's not nice, but you know, Lockdown Ludens ought to have done a lot better there. 7-0, they just got absolutely comprehensively beaten. All ends up by a team that looked better. You know, they had their strats down on point, and they clicked on heads faster. And when it comes down to it, if you're against a team that can do both of those things consistently over the course of 7 rounds, then, frankly, you're going to have to do something better than Lockdown Ludens. Better than what the Lockdown Ludens did to actually bring it out of the fire. There's not much room for analysis. They got swept. Let's move on.
Simply put, we saw a really good game coming out from Imperium of Mandem. And I look at that and I say, okay, well, that's really good moving forward. They're looking to get back up to the top where they were at the end of the first week. Their coordination was on point. Their crossfires was really good. Their opening picks was infallible. Every single round was run down to those frags, because even though there was a round where the plant went down, still won out down to kills. They went and got the diffuser. So, yeah, every single player at the maximum amount of deaths they could in 7 rounds. That's not a good position to be in, especially moving forward when all the teams in the league, they're going to be watching. But that is going to be the game being over. 7-0 in victory of Imperium of Mandem. But we are not done just yet. We do have the Sniper Monkeys will be going up against the Princesses later with that huge name of Ideal or Max D or Max P, depending on whether the Uplay name has gone through yet. Well, we'll find out very soon. But we are going to be taking a short break before we do get there. So make sure, as we go into our last game, you get a drink, get a snack, do whatever you need to do. Call whoever. If you're Lockdown Ludens, maybe get a bit of VOD review in before we get to our next game. But be here very, very soon. Sniper Monkeys and Badass. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third and final game of the Badass University All-Stars. Now, I've got a little bone to pick with Delta. He said a few insulting things about me during the break, so, you know what? I'm going to put it to one side for the sake of showmanship, Tom. Let's take a look at the game we've got coming up. The Princesses are going to be going up against Sniper Monkeys, and, well, there's quite a few recognizable names on both teams so far, and quite a few big things that we need to address.
Yeah, one or two recognizable names. Maybe, such as Max D, who, what was it again, set the kill record in the competition with 25 kills in one game. Yeah, biggie. Little names like that, Not quite household, but there we go. Big names in the University Siege League, as is the in the University Siege forum or sphere, I suppose. And you're completely right. Everyone knows everyone in this kind of lineup. Every famous face, every high level player that you can imagine is competing in Buell from the University scene. And that's lovely, and that's what we're here for these high-quality matches. Hopefully this one will be just a touch more competitive than that last one, with IOM sweeping Lockdown Ludens 7-0 in a game that I don't think they're going to want us to bring up too much. So we shall move swiftly on from that one. Now we're going to be having the rosters for our next game coming up on the screen, like magic. A la Playday 5. Princesses versus Sniper Monkeys. Adam, take us through it.
Okay, so you look at the Princesses, and this has been a very strong roster so far. They've been coming through, and they've just been putting rounds on the board. Now, a big issue, though, that they did have last week was it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. But, honestly, they're looking to bring it back, and I'm going to be brutal, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say what's on my mind. Going up against Sniper Monkeys, this is the place to bring it back. Sniper Monkeys, they got really, I'm going to use a naughty word here, they got shafted last week. They really struggled to put any rounds on the board. They really struggled to have a noticeable impact against, I'm just going to double check here because I want to make certain, so let's get the little stats up here from last week. They got taken down by Lockdown Ludens in, I believe, a 6-1, 6-2. It was a horrible position to be in, and we saw all of the players there really struggle to get any cohesion, any rounds on the board, any noticeable advantage. So, it's a shame. It's a shame to see. Now, one thing that you will be a little biased towards, Tom, is your alumni of a certain university on this board. The Hyde coming up from NTU. I played against him as a very talented player, alongside players like QuickJab, Sturksy, Nomdadom, and Tinchi. That's a stacked roster that I'm very surprised wasn't able to really bring anything to the table last week. But up against the Princesses, they won't have any choice. Look at those players. Mr. Joe, Max D, V7. Oh, it's going to be a good game if both teams deliver on what they should be able to.
Yeah, it should be a good game. And I'm not biased in any way. But I will, for accuracy, I will let out a little scream whenever the Trent Warfare player gets a kill. Beloved player of an org that I founded. No, there's no org. I'm unbiased. I'm not biased. It's fine. Beloved player of an org that I founded, competing at this level. And it's not to pat myself on the back, but I did teach him everything he knows. So there we go. So his victories are my victories. Let's hope he gets one.
Cook for a second. I'm gonna get something ready for you.
Oh no, he's getting up something that's going to utterly embarrass me. But let's look at the rest of the roster, though. They are a stacked roster. You've got Sturksy, heralded as the issue with T4 Siege, as it is, and you don't get there by not being able to aim, both in game and on Twitter, as I'm sure most of you will be aware he's somewhat infamous for. What a stacked pair of rosters we've got up. Sniper Monkeys coming into the game with something to prove. I'm going to ask our producer to cut over to the next scene just a few seconds early, just so McCready can't... No, put it down. Put it down. Let's not have that on cam.
That's what you get. That's what you've done now. You've got what you need to. I suppose someone might drink for this, but looking at the Map Band's clubhouse, we will be returning to. That's going to be the place that we want to take control of. Coastline and Villa being the autobans for today, then Chalet being taken away immediately. I'm just grateful Oregon was quick to follow, but, Consular Calf, I would have been open to a Consular pick, maybe even a Calf. But Clubhouse, that's where we're going to be heading towards. Sniper Monkey's probably wanting to go to that default map, especially after a performance like last week, to be honest, because it wasn't great on Villa, so understandably they got rid of that very quickly. No, we're getting the bias alarm, but yeah. Basically,
bias.
Looking at that, I'm expecting the Princesses to have a very comfortable game. On Chalet, they were able to really step up. And then last week as well, I do believe it was Coastline. They were able to put a lot of rounds on the board. Looking at moving forward, those Sniper Monkeys, a lot to gain, a lot to improve, and a lot to really show as we do look at moving into this game. So Tom, Clubhouse, let's think about the bans that we're going to see.
Well, there's been a lot of anti-Yorkshire bias so far in the league, and let me tell you, I'm not happy about it. Not happy about it at all. So I'd be looking to these teams, do the woke thing, keep Thatcher on the board. It's the meta thing anyway, isn't it? We are going to see a Thatcher ban almost certainly come out of this game.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. If you want to defend, then you can't allow this enemy team. You can't allow the Princesses to enable that breach. Primarily, that means taking care of the Thatcher. But as we saw in round one of this Playday, in the first game, there's counters to it. There's your Twitchers, there's your Ash Chargers, your Sophia Chargers from below. Thatcher, it removes the easiest option for the attackers. But it is so meta at this point that, to be honest, it doesn't even matter. But also ban it if you will. Princess is going to be coming in with their attacking ban. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. They'll take Hibana off the board, so we are going to see more towards your Mav tricks, towards your kind of non-conventional hard breaches, especially with those hatches when we go down to bottom site. That's going to be key.
I tell you what makes a lot of sense for me at the moment. Smonkey, they're taking Habana off the board, and that means, yes, Maverick, that's going to be on the board and will be probably brought by the Princesses quite a bit. But when you think about that kitchen, most importantly, that hatch, well, you can't open it realistically unless you bring that Maverick now and you commit to that position. Suddenly, you're exposing to quite a lot of issues when it comes to the roaming of Sturksy, the C4s that can be below. Sturksy on Clubhouse on the Malusi, well, honestly, not surprised to see that target ban coming out from the Princess, from Smonkey, actually. That's weird. Quick jab, his Moss is crashing, so I think it's quite safe to say there's going to be cheats brought on the board, but the main thing for me is looking at Smonkey take away the Malusi. That's going to force a lot of freedom onto the attackers. If they want to bring somebody with the same impact, well, they want that Legion, something Sturksy doesn't really play. He's going to be on the smoke instead. Going to the bottom floor, though, like I said, K-Claws on the board can be dealt with very easily. The Maverick means you don't have to worry about it too much. But something we might have seen on Oregon, you're going for that secondary site immediately. That's a very nice position to take, because look at that lineup. You look at that and you say that could be top floor, that could be CCTV, or it could be bottom. The Meister being the real off-meta pick for a CCTV hold. The question is, how's this execute going to come down? We saw the mute being taken away as well as that Habana. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this round goes out, how this game goes.
Yeah, that it is going to be very interesting to see how this works out. You know, they're going for the strategy that IOM pulled in the second game, which, if you recall, mainly because it was half an hour ago, was quite a strong one. You know, they threw the balance off from the attackers very, very early, and they were to keep them off balance for the rest of the game. Maybe Smonkey looking to do the same right now with the Sniper Monkeys. But Princesses, we've seen them here before. They're an incredibly strong team, backed with incredibly strong fraggers. And, you know, at this stage of competition, with the nature of the competition being as it is, these teams not being formal rosters, not having a huge amount of time to scrim and prep in between their commitments with their university teams, we're going to see a bit more of a loose and fast game. They all know how to do the basics of a defensive hold. They all know where the reinforcements generally should be for their own setups. They all know how to impact tricks, so those hatches will be a little bit more difficult. But as I've said throughout this broadcast and throughout my previous casts on this channel, it's going to come down to those frags. Who can click on heads, who can refine their strategies and adapt, and that's where these players are going to have to shine. Ideal, you'll notice, from last week, not having been renamed yet from Max D, back to Max D, rather. So
no,
that is in fact Max D, that is in fact the fragger from first round.
He's going to go to Max P.
Max P.
Basically, he made a tweet saying, whoever ratios me the hardest gets to choose my next two-player name. Sturksy actually was the one to win it out and chose Max P.
Didn't see that coming. Sturksy ratioing someone? No, almost never.
But what we're seeing right now is a very aggressive top floor clear. The 2 rent mounds on the board. 2 minutes 2 minutes left on the clock. There we go. We're seeing the Princesses. They're starting the vertical play. There isn't really an issue with any roamers that they have seen at the moment. The Mavericks starting to get to work on the Moto hatch. Well, you look at Smonkey and they're going to deny that kitchen best they can. Zodi, though, is in a position to overexpose themselves. If you get caught out here slipping, well, you're in a very difficult position. Quick Jam has the mechanical ability to land those shots, and trust me, I've played with him. I've tried for a team that he was on. I'm not sure if he is anymore at this point. He's taken a break from competitive, actually, aside from Bill. He can land those shots. The hatch will be open, and suddenly you need to commit that player to watch down there, the main stairs. That's going to get opened up, and mainly it needs to be held because you can shut down the rotation of defenders. A minute ticking down on the clock, not a single frag found yet, but a lot of work from both sides taking place.
Yeah, a lot of prep work coming out from Princesses here, but not much aggression on site. They're looking to do a very clinical, quick takedown. Now, we saw this over on Coastline in the last Playday that we watched. The Princesses are very, very strong in these dying seconds on attack. They can really dominate a game in those latter half of the game. And they're going to start with Ideal opening their account, taking it down to 4v5. But a limited amount of time coming out, but Ideal going on the warpath, finding a second. TXC replying with one onto Zodi.
Yes, now the Hyde has to hold this triple wall. If you don't, well, then they're just going to walk into Church. You need to play it down in blue because that allows you to rotate between Church, between Armory. Realistically, if you lose that blue pressure, if you lose that blue control, you're not able to get that dominant crossfire in these objectives, which is why Sturksy rotates there. The smoke comes out, the push comes in from Mr. Joe, but the Hyde is there. The Hyde will be taken down as Ideal finds their third. Now we're in a 2 versus 2 with the plant being planted. Fine, so what? Ideal are just getting aggressive. Once more kills, once more records to be broken. Will be taken down though, but the refrag from So What's there. It's all down to Sturksy, the king or problem with T4 depending on who you ask and how many subscribers they've got. But Sturksy looks to win out this 1 versus 1. He spots a leg, he knows the player's there, but the shot comes through the chair, and So What's able to close things down. Ideal ramping up the aggression. The rest of the Princesses, though, able to match it and work with Ideal's aggression. Get the map control, get the plant, get the crossfire. Very nicely done from them. Sniper Monkeys, they lost a lot of map control very early on.
Yeah, a lot of map control early on. And but where's the Roma? That's what I want to know. Where was the Roma? You know, they were, you know, the Princesses, they were just allowed to put their own will on the game. You saw how long they took to set up. They took 2 minutes, 2 minutes 15 even, to set themselves up for that push. And then when they did push, it was over and done in 30 seconds. You know, the diffuser went down, they got what they needed from it, and they eventually won out. Now, to their credit, Sniper Monkeys, they came back. You know, they didn't do too badly at all. 1v1 in the end. However, Princesses, they just put their will on the game, and they were allowed to. I need to see some Romas coming out from Sniper Monkeys. We can't have that second to second time. You need to have that pressure on the Princesses, even if it's just making them do their things faster, and thereby giving Smonkey, you know, the chance to come back and, you know, have a bit of a fight against them. 1-1 in the end, you know. In terms of players on the board, that's not a bad result given that you had no Rome presence, but imagine what they can do with it.
Yeah, the big issue though for me though, Princesses, their aggression, it wasn't really matched. Ideal had to be taken down after finding 3 kills and looking for the 4th on very, very low HP. Took that long. Now we're seeing Dirt being reinforced very, very late into that prep phase. Stixie will lend a hand and Nom the Nom will want to hold that position. But that's assuming that the Princesses don't just do what they've done before. They take control of top floor, they work their way down, they open up these hatches. As soon as they do that, well, simply put, they can just start exerting their will, like we saw in the last round. Ideal, Start gets a couple of kills through that vertical play. Get 3 kills, you will win a round when it comes to the execute in my eyes. Get 2 kills, you're in a good position, you can start moving onto that bottom floor. Princesses, they're not going to have an issue. There isn't going to be that Rome game. It's going to be Smonkey turtling again and seeing how long they can hold for in the end game. If Princesses have early aggression, well then Smonkey needs to hold out that little bit longer in these gunfights. That can be quite hard in quite a lot of actual gunfights and rounds, especially when you have aggression of the Princesses. The aggressively clearing the top floor. Ideal, taking the gunfights and winning them, most importantly.
What's the definition of an insanity, according to Albert Einstein? And I saw it on Facebook because it, you know, that means it must be true. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and allowing Ideal the space to do what they have to do. But they're going to see. I was going to say that TXC, we're going to see them pressure and take out Ideal, but Ideal winning out. You know, floats on diamonds almost every season. You're going to have to do better than that to take them out of, you know, out of commission. Ideal picks up another frag, taking them onto 4 in 2 rounds. And, you know, you can't let them get away with this. You've got to have that Rome presence. Even then, that wasn't a Rome. That was very slightly off-site. And you know, engaging them, but from the direction they're looking. Get a flank on. At the moment, you know, Princesses, foreseeably, they can win a game without droning. Smonkeys, they've got to pressure them. You know, they've got to kill.
Yeah, we've got to kill. Definitely the motto coming through from Smonkeys at the moment. 50 seconds left on the clock, and Ideal, he needs to be taken down. He's getting this vertical play, and Smonkey, there's no answer. They're committing these players to the blue position because, like I said, they need to hold it. They need to have that position because Sturksy, if you lose that, you give Smonkey, you give Princesses control, they could just take easy control of one of these sites, shut down rotations into another one. Quick jab though, looking to get aggressive. That, it just isn't as good because you're risking losing these players very early on. 20 seconds ticking down to the 20-second meta. It's going to be there. The push is going to come through. The Smokies know this. Ideal's going to win out another gunfight and will take down Quick Jab yet again. The smoke canister doing the damage, taking him that little bit lower. But right now, we're looking at Ideal doing a lot of work. Opening up the side. He's going to take the head off Nom the Nom. And suddenly, Sturksy and the Hyde have to go for that retake. So what? We'll find a kill out to Sturksy. It's all down to the Hyde with the Elder. He has 1 kill. Can he make 6? He will take 1, but will be taken out by Zodi on that refrag. Princesses. Mwah, that's the chef's kiss we were talking about. We saw that first kill come out for Ideal. Suddenly, the attention, all the focus of Smonkeys is on Church because 20 seconds left. You take a kill fight from there. Well, suddenly you think, right, they're pushing this position. No, Ideal just says, screw it. We're going to run all the way through this open wall, that pulse wall, right up against the main stairs. He opens it with the buck, sprints in, V, just able to take down Nom the Nom. In doing so, you shut down that rotate, you keep control of the main stairs. Well, you're in a great position. they start getting the plant down and said, screw it, we're just going to go for these gunfights, because why not?
Little conga line of death going through onto site there. Beautiful to see. The wall got opened by Ideal after he ran away from the smoke grenade. Just opens the wall up and the old team goes, yeah, go on, lead the way, boss. And they all just pile into sight. Things you'd love to see. I did say that I did say that I was a non-biased caster, and I think that rings true. However, I am quite conscious that when the Hyde was the only person that sat there on site, that I did scream out loud, he wins these. And he didn't, so there we go. Round 2 goes to the Princesses, again, off the back of a minimal run game. Now, they've decided to change things up. They've gone to top site, and honestly, right move. You know, you've lost twice on the one site with no room game. Just switch it up. You know, maybe they didn't have to switch site. They've got to change up their gameplay at the moment, because it seems like it's a team of 5 people who want to hold their angles and stay nice and safe on site. Well, the thing is, with the players that you're coming up against in the form of the Princesses, you're not safe on site. You know, you've got to take the fight to them. You can't hold still. You can't withhold yourself too far. Because all you're going to do is enable this Princesses team to put their will on the game. And if there's one team that you don't want to do that, given their ability to frag, it's Princesses.
Yeah. Now, Zodi will start that Maverick trick, and with Ideal doing the work with that soft breach immediately, that saves a lot of time. But the big problem is Spunky. They're going to know exactly what one of those players is as soon as that Mav trick is done. Which is why Ideal is holding that angle, looking for it. Zodi having a bit of issue, will take some damage thanks to these bandit charges. And the K-Claw, sorry. Now you're looking at this and you're seeing even more damage. You're seeing Zodi starting to get this breach open. As soon as that's open, well, you can start getting to work, and Ideal does that perfectly. He's able to find a kill onto the Hyde. The breach will get open, and Quick Jab playing in Red Stairs suddenly has a lot more work to do. But the rest of Princesses, they're going to try and get a crossfire going. V is going to succeed in finding the first kill onto TXC, the Jaeger being taken away, and yet again we're seeing Smonkey losing players right off the bat. The Hyde and TXC, the only 2 players of Smonkey's actually to get a kill so far, Delta. So halfway mark, Princesses, they're looking pretty good. So what will take some damage thanks to an Ash charge, but it's just for a smoke cancer, it's just not really a problem at this point. They have player advantages, they have bridge control, and they know where the nom is. Sturksy wants to get aggressive though.
And they're capable of it. No, oh, but that was the wrong time to dump out a smoke canister. V charging on site. They'll just sprint through for a triple kill. And now it's all down to Nom. They're not going to be able to do it. Ideal holding the angle. Princesses round 3 in yet again a very, very convincing style. And honestly, this could very dangerous. You know, it could very quickly turn into a rout, couldn't it, Adam? You know, they're getting absolutely pounded round after round. Roma, no Roma. It's very unfortunate at this stage for the Smonkeys, because not even Sturksy's legendary prowess on the keyboard is able to stop them from getting, well, to quote you, from getting shafted.
Like you decided to quote just so you wouldn't get into trouble for that. But
yeah, it's all on you, mate. It's all on you.
Debatable. But we are going to be heading back to the CCTV cache room. Now, Smonkeys, what they're trying to do is they're saying, okay, we give each site 2 goes. We don't have any more chances to really ruin anything. Because they can't give it 2 more attempts. Because they don't have the rounds to give away. Princesses already got 3 rounds on the board. If they start to lose rounds now, well, they pick up 1 more. Suddenly, they're in a dominant position going onto the defense. And the way that they've been playing, it's been incredible. Sturksy and TXC, only players that seems to get a kill in that last round. We're looking at the actual total kills of the Princesses so far, and it's 6. 3 rounds and 6 deaths, Tom. It's not a great position to be in. Smonkey, kill-wise, that's an even worse position to be in, because look at it. Look at how the team are playing at the moment. You're seeing your Maestro getting a kill, you're seeing your Jaeger, and Smoke just found one. But is it having the impact it needs to? No, it's not. Ideal is 7-1 right now. He is, realistically, just having the game of his life. He's having such a fun time. This, in 4 rounds, he's looking to add to this count. He's probably looking, if we can see overtime, Tom, to beat his own record.
I mean, overtime and record setting is very nice and all that, but I think Ideal at this point, we know what they're capable of. They're playing like they just want to win. It's not like Coastline last week where where we saw them almost fall foul to their own hubris, going to, I believe, what was max OT in the end over on Coastline. No more of that. They're just getting the job done, and then some. Like, look at them there. Very quickly, going to get this wall open before the 2-minute mark, so getting it done in a very fashionable time scale. Ideal having pre-opened the wall up so that there's no risk beyond that from the soft wall. It will just get breached in yet another evolution of the Maverick. There it is, it gets opened up. The free fires come in from above with the Maverick getting completed. Neither player, Sturksy or Ideal, will find anything.
Yeah, now Sturksy did get flamed out once, but so what if you keep that utility on the board? Well, it's just going to come in absolutely huge next time. Smoking off that window, well, now Sturksy doesn't know where to look. He has to play for the audio, and in doing so, he's just that little bit more distracted from the push going out from Ideal. That's a very nice position to be in from So What. The flame comes out, and So What says, right, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to get a kill, I'm going to go for a plan. He's not even planting. No, he's just getting aggressive and will be punished for it. Numdedom on the rafters, able to find that kill. Ideal not looking for a refrag. And the rest of Princess is very quiet at the moment. They have that control of construction. But you've just lost a Capital, the opening kill for the first time in favor of Spunkies. Construction will start opening up. V will start entering. Will we look for the kill? Finds it down at the Sturksy. Able to pick up the hide as well. Oh my lord, with the pistol. Looks for quick jab, but just can't land it. A 3 versus 3 with a minute remaining. Zodi pulls the pin on the frag grenade. Will be caught by the ADS, and Mr. Joe will leave the game. A 3 versus 2, but Princesses, Ideal and Zodi, 2 players that you need to have on the board. Ideal will go for that vertical play and will be looking to catch off guard. TXC, it's gonna happen. Numdedom gonna try and rotate back to site. Quick jab though. He can fall to this vertical play, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Zodi's going to go for the plan, but Numdedom has to get aggressive. The red pings come out, the push comes through, and Zodi is not going to get it. Ideal, can you just kill that man? The pause will be called as we wait for Mr. Joe to get back in. An unfortunate loss, but was it needed as we come back to our wonderful cameras to break down what we've seen so far?
I mean, that's the second time that V's gone through a little rampage. It took the exact same route, just walked in, took a frag, went through to the rotate, picked up another, very nearly picked up another triple. Just fragging out of their skull. Ideal, yeah, they got a triple. What's new? Like, where do we go now? Where do we go? 4-0 now to the Princesses. Sniper Monkeys getting beaten all ends up, in spite of having a member of the Big Pink up on their team. What's happening?
That, please, don't.
Unbiased casting. Things you love to see.
No. Yeah, that deserves a biased sign for me. I've been told to put it down. The producer's yelling at me. So while we have a little second, let's have a look at the other stuff we've got prepared. These are my notes. This is from the UKIN 2 calls, which Sturksy played decently in with the Notorious, but didn't qualify in the end. Hey, Easy. A nice little love heart for him as well. Because I kind of got bored waiting to join them in. And yeah, and obviously we've got the bias. So this is
one's
your
making
word
it on
of
the
the
casting
day.
reel. This is one for the casting reel. Someone
This
clip
is
this.
pinned-
Never let him forget this when he's
Pinned
big.
on my tweet. But most importantly, Princess is seemingly unstoppable. Seeing what we saw last time on Oregon, where we're just simply seeing aggression that can't be met. We're seeing gunfights that just can't be caught up. We're seeing the second frag. As soon as Ideal gets one, the next frag is 9 times out of 10 going to be another one. So he's just doing a lot of the legwork. And it's like we saw from Imperium Commando. They had a player going in and getting frags. As soon as that happened, they capitalized upon it. Immediately, you had these players getting to work. We also had players just positioning themselves so nicely. We saw So What go in, but with cover from that breach. Now, eventually they did die. They didn't have that much impact, but Numdedom was suddenly exposed. You had Ideal on that wall at the same point. Numdedom trying to push, well, just gets taken down. As soon as V walks into that cache area, finds it down onto Sturksy, finds a kill onto the hide, well, Ideal could start moving in. Huge positioning from them, huge coordination, and they are just looking at the stronger team. Sniper Monkeys don't really have an answer. Their frags are lacking, their positioning, their reactions, and their post-plant, that's really struggling. It reminds me of that copy pasta where we're seeing Sniper Monkeys are a good team. They just need to work on this and lists every possible thing you can imagine. Sniper Monkeys are just struggling to keep pace. And I only see the princesses running away with it, I'm afraid.
I mean, after the 4 rounds that we've seen, seeing the scoreboard, which I'm sure we'll see in game at some point when it switches to the half, presumably on match point. What else can we predict? I wasn't expecting one. I wasn't even expecting one sweep. We could well be on our way to a second in this Playday. And it's not what we want to see. We don't want to see teams getting absolutely battered at this stage. There we go. There's the scoreboard. Ideal. Take a bow. You know what I mean? V also backing it up with some very lovely work in and around the site, particularly on that top site. 5 kills in the last 2 rounds there on that top site. Like I say, following the exact same route through the site. And it's just completely dominant. On the other half of it, on the side of the Smonkeys, just not much to shout about, really, unfortunately.
Tom?
And it's sad. It is sad, because I think, perhaps the veneer of lies that I spread across the screen about me being unbiased may be wearing somewhat thin. But it is sad because, these players, they're capable of so much better. But there are some things they need to work on. And I'll hold short of listing what they are now. But, they do need to work on it. Ideal picking up more kills than the rest of the team combined. And that rate only increasing on and on and on. At 10 KD.
Tom, I've done the maths. I'm pretty sure we're looking at 20 to 8 in KD. And as a team combined.
Yep.
And I will let you guess exactly which team is which in that scenario. A little brain teaser for you. I know you've graduated recently. You're doing work in I think it's a call center. Very mind-numbing stuff. But I'll give you something to stimulate yourself. 20 kills on one team, 8 on the other. Take a guess which is which.
Ouch.
Well, he called me some naughty words before we started, so I'm getting my own back.
Oh my God, go for the jugular. Don't just leave me wounded. Jesus Christ, Caster on the desk, down but not out and in need of a dock stim. Blimey. But yeah, mind-numbing though it may be, at least I look good on camera, so there we go. We are going to be
on camera, Tom, remember?
Sorry?
When like all of you is on camera.
Yeah,
remember?
well, there we go. And it doesn't take much of me to look better than you. We are going to move beyond this before it descends into just absolutely, slacking each other off, which I don't think would be hugely professional. I do think we should strive for some professionality for the remainder of the stream. Princess is currently sitting in 4th. We kind of joined 2nd, but 4th on round difference. With this victory, assuming they do in fact win, which I think we've just said is overwhelmingly likely given the 4 rounds that we've seen so far, they will go top of the table. No way around it. They will go straight up to the top of the table. Lockdown Ludens, they're rivals on this Playday. If they win, they'd probably not be leapfrogged. But the Princesses have won 4 rounds and Lockdown Ludens got swept 7-0, so there's not much possibility of them not being first at the end of the Playday. What it's going to take from the Sniper Monkeys is it's going to take a huge mental reset and a couple of adjustments to their game plan, because as it stands, we're seeing a Sniper Monkeys team that at the moment isn't roaming, that at the moment is losing their wands, and, over the course of these last 4 rounds has been a team, and again, I hate to say it, but it's been a team of, 5 ones. And it's very sad to see. Hopefully, after this mental break, after this reset, they will be able to come back, to a bit more of a competitive mindset. But as it stands, we are going to be going to a short break, just while we have our players revamp their tech issues.
But good wasn't the only perspective of all the days that we had. We lost it. You were the best I ever had, but every second you were screwing me over, and now I'm done with it. I guess that there was no surprise. Deleting you out of my mind. Isn't it iconic? Standing on the front line, steady going forward without knowing the direction. I need to be honest, it was
So welcome back. Now, there's one thing you might notice, and that's that the princesses do not have Mr. Joe in the roster. But when you look at it like this, it's quite simple to understand that Ideal and the rest of the roster, they might not struggle as much as you'd think, especially when you take a look at that scoreboard. Spunky will be returning to the bottom floor, Tom, after 2 unsuccessful rounds in the CCTV, following 2 unsuccessful rounds, and take a guess exactly where they were. I know you've got notes, but humour me.
Well, you know, it seems to me like they were on that bottom floor site where the Hyde valiantly charged, bayonet fixed and all, at this princesses lineup. You know, princesses knocked down to 4 people because they were considered just too OP for this round. And we said, well, we can't have two sweeps in 1 week. The scriptwriters didn't account for that. Sturksy gonna down Zodi, not gonna finish the job though. So Stosy presumably will get picked back up now, presumably by V, and Sturksy retreats. They've done their job. They've denied, you know, a little bit of time.
Wait, what? How's Ideal already halfway down main stairs? Now you look at that, Zodi will be revived, but it took a lot of time because they didn't know that Sturksy pulled back, and Sturksy didn't know. TXC is on that roam game and is looking at kitchen, but what you can see right now is Ideal, he just doesn't care. He's on this complete roam clear. TXC will take some damage. Ideal looking for the shot to Sturksy. Isn't going to land it just yet. We'll take out that camera, but now, well, those roamers, they've just been isolated off site. They don't know if Ideal's pushing up or if he's pulling back. Ideal, though, rotating around, wants to catch Sturksy in the back. But Sturksy rotates away. He moves with TXC. You play together. You play for refrags. You can have a successful roam. Right now, though, they're feeling the pressure. Princesses want this room clear. They want to deal with them. So, the best bet for them is to realistically find a corner to either dig down in and call it the Alamo, or to just pull back to site. And when you think about when you're in a 4 versus 5, pulling back to site, that's the answer on the board. Quick Jab is looking towards this dirt, realizing there are players there. There is a shield in that position, but you're just playing behind the AK, as the shield will stay safe. And you know there are players there, but Zodi will even things out. Not finished off by Sturksy might have been a mistake.
Drop a GN, son. Go on. Lovely shot goes there. Opens the site clean up. Now, they haven't yet been able to regress onto site. Nom Nom will have something to say about that. Taking V off the board. Zodi still pushing here. And so what has dropped from Hatch. They'll get the plant down. They've got B site control. However, that is a Maestro cam from the Hyde, distracting, stopping the plant. Now Nom Nom has the chance to go on a little bit of a flank, claiming that shield, taking back site control and picking up a triple. And now it's just down to Ideal, still isolated on that top floor and now in a 4v1 situation. But if there's one player you're going to back in this situation, it will be Ideal. They're going to have to deal with pre-fire coming out from Sturksy. They're going to push, aggress forwards, go for the swing. They'll find the foot and take Sturksy out.
Yes, huge right now, but Swanky, they've stepped up in a huge way. They've started playing together. They've been playing for refrags, they've been playing off of each other in each moment they've gone for. Now Ideal in a very difficult position. These refrags, that's going to be the death of them. The Hyde will be able to kill Ideal, and as such, Swanky, they'll pick up their first round so far. They can get a 4-2 half, but you've got to think about the momentum at this point. Ideal, a hell of a game, but just shut down that little bit. How long can they keep this going for? I don't know. Mr. Joe is back in the lobby, so it is going to be a 5 versus 5. A bit sad that his kills haven't been reset. No, that's what happens when there is a reset in every host, because he's currently going 0-2 at the moment. And in doing so, well, you know, if it reset, he'd have a much better KD, and his overall stats would be a lot nicer. But looking at this, we're seeing Ideal swapping out for the Monty, probably feeling a little bit unfair at the moment. So decided let's stick with that 4 versus 5. He had a competitive round with doing so, and we can give you that information.
I mean,
big thing that this really points out to me, Tom, before I do let you get on with your point, is you can get that Raptors, you get that Monty, get the Raptors control, realistically get the angles and garage opened up, shut down that road when we're coming back, get Monty moving up. You can start for a very nice push into this cache CCTV.
Now, over the 2 play days that I have seen Ideal play Monty, I've seen him play him 3 times. They've won every Monty round that he plays. Man's talented. You know, you don't become a washed diamond, you know, through a lack of trying.
That is some strong words for a man on 11-2.
It's some strong words coming from a caster who's silver and doesn't play.
Overwatch, am I right, Tom?
Sorry?
That's where you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
That's your game, isn't it?
This is Rocket League, right?
Yeah,
But no, like, no cap and man's talented, and you can't write him off as a player saying it's a 4v5 just because it's a Monty. He's able to tap heads with that pistol whilst enabling his team to aggress onto site. And Monty on Rafters, as you and I have seen in various competitions that we've both taken part in, ran, casted. It's strong, you know what I mean? And especially with a player like Ideal at the helm. Princesses, you talk about momentum, I will actually dispute that. There's been a 10-minute break. They hit their strides, they were vibing, they were hitting heads left, right, and centre. And then, just as their momentum was building up this gigantic head of steam, bam, 10-minute timer. Now, TXC with a lovely peek over onto Zodi. He'll take Maverick on the board. He'll also take So What off the board, but then Ideal the Monty starting to aggress over onto site, takes out and clears Rafters. On their own at this stage, though.
Yes. This breach is now open, so Mr. Joe wants to try and find some kills on the board, but you need to play it safe, as Nom the Nom's able to take down Ideal. Now, though, maybe not so much, because you see V, he's going to want to take that position of Rafters. You have this crossfire if you can get that Rafters control. Mr. Joe will find their first kill, will take down Nom the Nom, maybe getting a little bit too aggressive on the Jaeger, but that's the job. You've already got 2-kill advantage, you can waste 1 player. Half the round, the time ticking down, and while the attackers in a very good stead as it comes to actually approaching and aggressing. Well, you look at this, and I think it could go either way, as long as the Princesses play it tight. This Monster Camera will be a big issue for the attackers. It has to be taken down with V and their Ash breaching charges. If it's not dealt with, that passive damage will go through. Mr. Joel, now he's in, probably won't get a plant down. And as the Alder starts to sing, the pre-fire comes out, and now that they know where that camera is, they'll take it down. But the signal for the attack has started to launch. V will take some damage, a smoke will go off, and Quick Jab will be able to find a kill. And Quick Jab finds another one, able to just shut things down very comfortably. Spunky will be able to find a 4-2 half, but is it too late? Now, you did say about the momentum with that break, that opportunity to reset. Well, that might have just done it as well, because you've got to think. Now the Princesses, they have the opportunity to ride with this momentum into their attack.
Yes, very true. Spunky, take no credit away from them. They have bounced back against a team that was stomping all over them. Maybe that 10-minute break did help them reset their mental, help them reset where they were at. Princess is not really recapturing the momentum that they were able to sustain through rounds 1 through 4. We're not going to have a sweep, fortunately. We are going to have a competitive game of Siege. However, Princess is very much in the ascendancy, 4-2 in terms of their own attacking rounds on a map that, I'm sure they'll agree, is defender-sided. And now they're able to play as those defenders. CCTV Cash being their first pick. We're going to see a couple of picks that perhaps are a bit more meta. We're going to see Ideal switching over onto the Jaeger. I guess they're going to frag. Who knows? And we're also going to see a very standard setup. I quite like this Goyor shield. I'd expect to see that placed up in Rafters, covered by 1 or 2 YMI charges, just to waste that utility and make a Rafters push eat up so much time, so much utility that becomes unviable, especially with a rotate from CCTV. So what's sealing up the outer wall? Not really needing to comment on that, are we? But actually, I don't think we're seeing a Goyo shield go out on Rafter. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Talking it back to that breach just a little bit, you see a Maverick on the board, you see an Ace, you see all the operators that you can bring on the side of Spunky, and you say, well, this wall's getting opened up regardless.
Yeah,
so let's focus currently on stopping the plant rather than stopping the breach getting
That's exactly
open.
it, yeah. A big part of a breach is actually establishing Rafters control, because without Rafters control, you can get angles as a defender onto anywhere on that breach. And that's huge, because the breach itself doesn't remain safe, and it's extraordinarily hard to challenge an angle from Rafters. V there on a stalk, and we're seeing here the roam game from Princesses in a way that we just didn't see from Smonkey in those first couple of rounds. That's aggressive from Ideal. They're going to peek outside, they're not going to find anything, but they won't set the timer off. That's very well played from them. The rotate established for the attackers early on, and you can't help but wonder if Sturksy should have seen that. Lovely work from our observer there, just to show the nature of the issue there. Nom will pick up the first kill over onto Mr. Joe, and will establish a quick man advantage. But V will bring it back.
Yeah, you still have Zodi on that rafters, which is something you talked about. That breach can get open, yes. You do have the hard destruction done, but, well, look at that right now. The attackers, they're not in a great position with this breach. That can be opened up, granted, but right now you're in a position where that breach doesn't look very comfortable. Max, or Ideal, still down below in the garage, is able to find a kill onto Sturksy. You've taken away the sledge, you've taken away the smoke. Most importantly, you've taken away that CCTV window presence. And in doing so, well, now Spunky, they're forced with the only option of a very one-dimensional lateral push. Pushing into the Princess's crossfire, that's not a position you want to be in. All of these players could frag out, and all of these players most likely will. Question is, though, how is Monkey going to adapt? You're running out of time now. They're on a minute 15, and Ideal's just going to pip the head of Nom the Nom. Zodi's going to be looking for a kill on the breach onto Quick Jab, wanting to take the diffuser. Won't land the shot just yet, but we'll have another opportunity in just a second. There it is. Suddenly the Hide is all on their own, trying to find a kill onto Ideal, but the name of the game is taken away. They know where you are, they know what's going on, and Ideal is going to try and get the angle. You can go wherever you want, but realistically, Princesses, you've got to find 4 kills. You've got to find Ideal. Then so what? Then V. Then Zodi. And you've got to find a plant. The run out will take place from Ideal, who will find their 3rd kill and find Princesses another round.
I hate that rotate. And the reason I hate it is because they never used it. And that's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. You're playing against a game, you're playing against a gamer who is
playing a game.
You're playing against a gamer who's playing a game, dude. And that is the end of the color casting segment, Adam. But you are in fact playing against somebody who, you know they love a run out. You know it, and I think one of the things that they could have done is they know he's aggressive. Sturksy should have been watching it. Let the breach go down, have Ace run away. Sturksy sledge holding a long angle away from roof. Could have picked up a kill on Ideal, and that would have been huge in the early game. They failed to. And at the end, what was the rotate used for? The game where, the round ceiling kill. So, I hate that rotate. That's not what lost in the game. What lost in the game was dying en masse. Very uncoordinated push, getting locked out, isolated, dropped one by one, until it was gone. It wasn't a very coordinated push by any measure. But they really didn't help themselves in those end game scenarios, because you're going to want to push up onto that roof if you want to get a crossfire going as an attacker. That window in CCTV and also window into construction, they are huge. They are the areas that allow you to egress from other angles. They didn't take control of that, and they actually opened the rotate up. So if Ideal had a C4 operator, for instance, if they know the intel's up there, Ideal's going to run out and chuck a C4 up there. Any of these players are, because that's just what we do. So opening that rotate was criminal. Not using it was worse, and it's one of those things that I just think it contributes to a whole wide range of factors that show that Smonkeys, they're just not playing a refined game. Princesses, they're hitting heads. Not much more to go on there.
Tom, well, this is a very interesting setup. Now, not only do you see Mr. Joe opening up that side of that mirror window, that's just for sound propagation. It travels better if you have that soft breach done. Now, that hard breach is open. Ideal will be able to find that Yana Gemini drone, 15-3. A very strong KD at the moment, looking to just cement it that little bit more. But that jacuzzi wall is partially open thanks to this mirror window, and in doing so, well, you talked about C4s, the opportunity for them is there. So, shockingly enough, Smonkeys, they're not committing the players down to that position. But what they are doing, on the side of the Princesses, V is going all the way down to dirt, looking for when they do commit a player there. Sturksy on the roof will open up the Logi hatch, the Hide will rotate around and look to get into CCTV, but they know that Ideal's playing there. And because they know that Ideal's playing there, they're not going to be comfortable going in. And Ideal will be able to find a kill onto TXC, the very reason that I was talking about. You don't want that kill to come through. Smonkey want this refrag, but it's too late. Ideal's already pulled back. They're now going to be subject to the crossfires of construction. Max not allowing himself to get pinched out like you saw Orchid in that first game. Mr. Joe will be taken down behind that mirror window, but suddenly, Nom the Nom's able to find Zodi as well. Well, now the momentum is starting to shift. Smonkey have real opportunities as V looks for this rotate.
Yeah, V creeping up behind him, and if I can't see any flank drones there either, so that's going to be huge. Ideal, picking up a second, taking down the diffuser in the form of Nom and Nom, who's going to dial in a peculiar upright direction. So that's always good fun when you see it. But V here, that's what I want to talk about. Just that Predator sneaking in from behind. That's going to be absolutely devastating if Smonkeys have no flank drones, and I don't think they do.
Sturksy will be able to find another kill on the board. We'll take down Ideal. Now you're in a 3 versus 2. This is a great position, especially when you consider what you said. V's on the run. V's not defending on sight. As soon as a flank cam comes in, well, they basically say, well, that's done. Let's take control of this position. Sturksy finding that kill will take so what down. Suddenly V in a retake position. You have two options. You try, take your one-on-one engagements, or you will pull back. Sturksy shutting things down, really stepping up with the frags. The main thing I want to talk about there, though, we saw Mr. Joe getting a little bit hungry for kills. What we also saw there was V maybe not reading the situation properly. You're losing a lot of players on site. You're taking your time coming up those stairs. You're taking your time trying to collapse. And in doing so, well, you're just seeing so what? All on their own in a 1 versus 4, trying to find something, can't make it happen. And that's how Smonkeys are able to put a 3rd round on the board. Not exactly what we saw in Oregon, but we are seeing Smonkeys getting some momentum. There is a redemption arc possible, but Princesses, they went to the gym bedroom, and I think there's a very simple reason for that. If they won that round, they'd be on match point. And then they go down to the church arsenal, which they're doing now, and, well, they can close things off easily. Now, though, they will go to that bottom floor regardless, because no matter what happens with this round after it, they'll be able to go back to CCTV. Now, this is where Princesses have a real opportunity to close it down. That was the round to win for Smonkey. But they're not in a position to really lose anything else. They need to pick this one up as well if they want that fighting chance, in my opinion. If not, I think they might lose it all out. We will see a very typical setup coming out. You see the K, the Mozzie. That's implying, very simply, alongside with that Legion, there's going to be a rogue fight. As soon as the Legion mines go off, well, you say, right, that's going to be ideal at wanting to capitalize upon it. Get some more kills on the board. Go and get aggressive. Get closer towards that kill record. Just do it. Mr. Joe will have this mirror window. We'll be able to play behind it, and in doing so, do something we've seen, I think, only Peak really excel in, and that's just taking off angles, taking difficult gunfights that the attackers, they just aren't going to win, simply put. A C4 could come through that window, a gunfire could come through that window, but most importantly, you're giving yourself another angle to expose yourself to when you want to push onto site. If you want to go to Moto, you drop the hatch, you expose yourself to the blue rotations and sightlines. Otherwise, you walk in through the main stairs. You're gonna die either way, or you're at least gonna have to take a gunfight and win it out. Smonkey will look at a very careful advance. They have drones. They know that Ideal's on the roam there, that they need to clear him out. And the inclusion of the Iana makes a lot of sense in doing this.
Yeah, no, it really does. Iana, a very strong operator since coming into the meta, since, coming out of quarantine a couple seasons back. And, it's an extra drone. What's not to like? It also baits out shots from the attackers, where sometimes they may miss them. So it is a bit more noticeable, but it also allows you to, have perhaps a bit more of a dangerous flying approach. And it's just all around a very nice ability, backed up with some very nice weaponry. However, one thing that I do want to pick up, we're talking about Iana, let's talk about Defender. Let's talk about Ideal. We talk about him a lot so far this game, 17-4. That record, like you said, it's on the board. It's not going to take too much more to push it over the edge. 3-5 to the Princesses. However, they are, coming off the back of a loss. They're on a strong site, and about half the game's gone. And frankly, we've still got Smonkeys entering top floor gym. They're miles from site. What they're doing?
Yeah. I think Smonkey, they're wasting a lot of time. What we saw for the Princesses on their attack was they took early control. They took early aggression. Like you said, right now, they just don't have that in the same way. Smonkey, they're taking their time. They're roam clearing, granted. They droned out Ideal once on main stairs, and it's clear. Now, I highlighted that Iana because I said there's a lot of opportunity for that roam clear itself. There's a lot of opportunity to open things up and just get that free information for the push. So why is it taking this long? A minute is taking off the clock, and now we're only seeing blue hatch open up. V will start pushing through, taken down by Circe, dropping onto the oil pit, I do believe. They're fighting for blue control, Tom. 45 seconds left, and they're only just trying
Stop
to
it.
take it. Sturksy is answering back at my criticism by finding another kill with that C4, but you need to find 3 more. In 30 seconds, a push has to come through. Mr. Joe's able to find their second kill, taking the hide off the board. Here's Alicia Mine Go. He's able to find TXC. A 3 versus 3, and Ideal has all the sightlines he needs. He's going to be looking to get aggressive on this. You do have Sturksy up against that generator, wanting to pull back because they don't have the time. Ideal runs through and gets a kill, but doesn't even die. He's going to find Num the Num as well. Now it's all down to Quick Jab with 10 seconds, and you need to take out Ideal. Ideal has got a C4, he spots a player, but he doesn't notice it, he just runs into it, and the trade comes out, and Princesses are on match point.
And just like that, you know, they take it to the strongest site, arguably on the map. You know, CCTV strong, but, you know, I mean, I've always been of the opinion that Basement just hits different, and there we go. We are at match point. Bit later than perhaps we thought, but there we go. Where do you go from there? Again, it was a very disjointed push. You know, players getting greedy with their kills. They're after these frags, which are needed. Fair enough, they do need the frags. But unfortunately enough, you know, you're playing against a team that can really just frag out and stop you from picking up these frags. You saw the Ideal picking up kill number 20 on a trade 25.
Tom, why did that happen? Why did we see these players pushing it so late? Smonkies, they have a current winner of Spool Season 1. You have Quick Jab, The Hide, all these players having that competitive experience. They've played on teams before, they know what they should be doing. So why are they waiting until 30 seconds to open up Blue Hatch?
Yeah.
Why are they waiting to start pushing with the bare minimum time on the board? You found a couple of kills, but Sturksy, honestly, you're lucky to get that. I'm being very, very critical here, because that shouldn't have happened at all. You should have had that control very early on. You should have been ready to push down. Max, pull back quickly. Yes, there's Pest. You have a Yana. Simply put, you have all the tools you need at your disposal, and now you're going to be attacking CCTV site. Princesses won out this round on the back of Ideal yet again. Currently, as I think it's going to go, even if he aces, he's not going to break that record, and I think he shouldn't, because if he aces, if he beats this record, well, that means Princesses have been throwing rounds. They've been giving Smunky a lot more than they deserve. I'm getting cross, I'm getting angry. I'm really annoyed at that last round. So you've got Bias Caster one way, you've got another one in the opposite way. Ideal though, I'm going to reel it back in and be a bit more objective, but Ideal is going to look for that spawn peak, and when you see the KD, how can you say no to it?
Yeah, well, you know, it's not a spawn peak, not a successful one by any stretch, but, you know, a bit of time eaten up from the board, and they're going to be holding these angles, which are your usual angles that you would expect the attackers to come out. Quick Jab going to get to work on that wall, wasting no time, and a good benchmark for a team is that you see a team be able to push through quickly. I think we just saw V use their C4. Nope, we did not. We saw something get tapped onto that electricity. Not sure what it was, but that Maverick tree was as yet undisturbed. Quick Jab getting tagged up. They'll actually get downed. And that's not going to help their breach at all, because there is still very much a Cade Claw on that external wall. Quick Jab limping away, you know, crawling to safety. They're in trouble to get that wall open now.
Yeah, now with those Cave Claws, well, simply put, that Maverick trick was very, very important. Sturksy will be able to find a kill onto Ideal. Quick Jab will be alive and will be able to get back on that wall. Won't be able to get all of it, and in doing so, will have to expose himself. Now with Ideal off the board, Prince Smonky, real opportunity to win a round. But we're seeing time being a big, big issue. The 6th defender, and this time, not because of Smonky's fault. You're seeing a kill coming out, but they're taking a lot of time. The downing and revive of Quick Jab, while he's going for this Mav trick, which isn't working at the moment, well, that's eating up so much time that Smonky don't have at this point. Princesses, play it down, set to win it on the clock is in my personal understanding. But they are going to take control of Raptors. They're going to try and deal with Zodi, and they're going to try and focus on brute forcing their way. Their aim, it needs to be on point. Their coordination, it needs to be there as well. And TXE is able to find that opening kill. Quick Jab going for that flank. He's in below. He has an opportunity. V will be taken down as well. Mr. Joe has no choice but to rotate back onto the side, and so while playing on red, well, you can't really lose that position. You need that bottom floor control, as we see Smonky they are starting to make up for their mistakes. Quick Jab pushing through will find one kill. Now the two defenders make that one in that cash room. Mr. Joe on his own.
Here we go, big mistake being made. Almost a flawless round, but Mr. Joe, hungry for frags, will pick up two. Can they clutch this up? Can they remove the chance of a record being set? Mr. Joe running away from that frag grenade. They'll escape, but they'll start pushing onto the Ash. The Ash will turn around. TXC seals the deal. Smonkey, again, against the run of play, picking up around 6-4 still for Princesses, but everything to play for.
Right. Smonkey, thank you. I got so angry at the start of that last round, just wanting to see some different changes, wanting to see something happen. I was very critical of them, and they stepped up in a huge way. They were able to just sit there and position themselves in a way that the Quick Jab went down, time was eaten up. Those were the big issues with that round. But as soon as I said they need to go for that Garrett, they can't bother with the breach anymore. They did. They had the Journey, they had the Yana. That's what they need to do. They had that precise ping. As soon as the Gemini's gone, TXC, gun is firing, gun is taking down Zodi in that position. You're seeing that Smonkey, now they've made even this man count, they're comfortable. They're wanting to start moving in. They have control of bottom floor, red stairs, and they have control of rafters. That's when they start applying the pressure. Smonkey, they're able to distract the attention of the Princesses so far. And Ideal, well, he didn't get a single kill in that round. He was picked off early by Sturzy. That was a huge, huge kill in my opinion.
Yeah, really, really big. You know, one of the things being close to the round is that, you know, maybe the Princesses, they're looking to facilitate a new record breaker. You know, with Ideal being removed early, are they now going to maybe soften up, let Smonkey take a round back or two? And this is why it comes back to what I was saying last game that we saw Princesses over on Coastline. They let their hubris get in the way, and they very nearly threw a match as a result. Now, they have got the ability to pull it back if they need to. But, really? What I'd love to see is them to just say, do you know what? We're above records, we're above all that. Let's just go get the victory. Do you know what I mean? We know we can win. We've proven it in rounds 1 through 4. But over the last 4 rounds, in the last 6 rounds, they've actually lost 4 of the last 6 rounds. They're not in a position really to say, you know, we're the ones to beat or anything, because if they were, they'd be top of the league already. The fact of the matter is that they're not. No, it's not a deal just yet.
Yes, but they've decided to give him the older now to try and deal with it as a return to this side. Now, after this round, they'll be able to go back to bottom floor, but at that point, you need to question. Smonkey, are they starting to step up? Are they starting to win things out? That's a huge potential point for them if they can win this round. Does the momentum really shift? Now, Ideal will pull back from Garage, realizing last round, they're a bit too long. You lost your life to Sturksy, who was able to find that kill. Just play it safe. You have those evil eyes you need to think about as well. Now, you can see V has been put onto the Jaeger as well. Someone who's been very comfortable with taking the gunfights as well. Easily that second standout player for the Princesses on the board, whereas the rest, they just haven't really had much opportunity to get kills. And I don't think that's mainly down to them being bad. You can see V in the position where they are right now could jump out and could find 2 kills. However, the question is, will they? Could jump out, but they don't know that those 2 players are there. As soon as that vertical play is called out, half the round, by the way, is gone off that clock now. TXC is in a position to start this vertical play. The Hyde is going to rotate around, isn't going to pop that window, so V still won't know. A very quiet start to the round. We're looking at Smonkey wanting to get some very, very aggressive plays in the last 30 seconds, the last minute or so. V still in this story, looking for something. V is able to find it and will find TXC. That Ash going to be taken off the wall. It's going to make life even harder to get the breach open. So, Smonkey, they've got to look towards Raptors again.
That's a nice angle there from V. Tagging up, but not actually getting a kill, but they'll get behind on notice. He's now going to be on low health as he attempts to aggress onto this CCTV site. But the angles are still very much being held. Princesses, 4v4, you would back them in this scenario. They're able to frag out. Ideal, taking very much a supporting role back on the red line. Able to pick up the frag onto Quick Jab. Big frag to seal off that breach, but they still have diffuser control. Sturksy playing underneath. They have the frag grenades. They do not have the frag grenades. They're going to be unable to pull off any antics from beneath. V for the opportunity to peek, but will get downed by Sturksy with that powerful secondary. Going out. Oh, stop it.
Game's pretty much over now. Xerxes forced to rush up those red stairs. Will be going into So What and Mr. Joe's waiting arms. No other option. You go into that. You go to the diffuser. You don't have time. You can't get the plan. And Mr. Joe will shut things down. Being able to find a third kill in that round. Being able to shut down the plant itself. Honestly, Tom, we are going to see a new kill record. But that is because Princesses, they're going to close it down too early. Ideal did a lot of work, and you can't fault him for that, but he started to stall out towards the end. He wasn't as obvious. It was a little less ideal. It came down to players like Mr. Joe and V to really start bringing things back. I'm very pleased to see that you fixed your camera just a little bit, but what are some of your closing thoughts on that game, on the scoreline that it was, a 7-4?
Well, Ideal's alright. But, I think one of the things that really struck me is that one player doesn't make a team.
Exactly.
And we've spoken a lot about Ideal, and I think perhaps too much. Because, the rest of the team, they're falling behind them. And, one fragger on their own isn't able to carry a match. It's if they're backed up by a team that, if that fragger is able to say, do you know what? I know that the rest of the team's got my back. I know that. So I can just go, I can do my thing, I can vibe, I can play my game. And that frees them to have the ability to, just go and do what they want to do. And so it is a very much a group effort. And a group effort, unfortunately, is not what we saw from Xerxes' side there. Well, not what we saw from the Sniper Monkeys. The Hyde, playing well, but unfortunately not able to achieve that positive KD. I don't think any of them actually achieved a positive KD, correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't a game of 5-1s against the team, okay? It was better than that. They certainly developed in their synergy as the game went on. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to cope with not only the the ability to frag out that was present on the Princesses, but just the sheer amount of ability that is spread out through the entire team. Very unfortunate for the Sniper Monkeys, but we are going to see, in fact, the Princesses ascend to the top of the leaderboard, correct me if I'm wrong, after Playday 5. And
really
deserved.
Strong position to be in.
Deserved.
Really strong position, yeah. Because you look at that and you say, like you said, one fragger doesn't make a team. Max, or Ideal, had the opportunity to really step up and did that. But because the team were given information, the team were playing off of him very, very well. In the rounds where that wasn't taking place, and Idea was playing on his own a little bit more, that's when we saw Sniper Monkeys start to bring things back. They pick him off, then they start to pick apart the rest of the defense. That's a really good attack from them. So there's a lot to be brought from them. I'm very pleased with the development that they've shown. Considering when I look back at Villa last week, they played rough. It was not a great time for them. So they've also shown that development improvement that I wanted to see last week. They need to bring it forward even more, though. And I think the Princesses, they just need to deal with making sure that their coordination is constantly on point and what to do when Ideal does get taken down. Because you can have a team revolve around a player, but you need to be able to deal with losing that player as well.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw towards the end from the Princesses in the rounds that were able to push them to match point and win it out. They were able to play without him. It wasn't down to Max that those rounds necessarily were won, because you saw players like Mr. Joe start to really step up. He had a really strong performance in that penultimate round, even if they didn't win it. So I just want to see little things tightened up from the Princesses, but Sniper Monkeys, still a lot of work to go, but they're well on their way to getting there.
Yeah, and kudos to both teams for giving us a nice competitive match. But Princesses will be the ones that take the dubs today. Congratulations to them. They will go to the top of the table. Sniper Monkey still languishing in 9th spot. And now it's down to the Minutemen to next game, tomorrow, on Playday 6, to see if they can actually ascend a spot, or maybe more, in Playday 6.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it personally because, well, I've absolutely loved watching all of this so far now, just so that you know who's going to be guiding you through tomorrow. You're going to be having Jerry and Tudors on the microphone. Two incredible casters, if I do say so myself. One of them operating for Yukin, the other one operating as a very, very well-known T4, T3 caster. Done Benelux quals, done Yukin 2 quals, and me myself. But the teams that are going to be playing tomorrow, like you said, tomorrow we will be seeing the Minutemen and Team Triton, followed by Chimp Hunters and the Froggers. Now, Chimp Hunters, a great position. If they win that game, they should be able to bump themselves back up into that first place. But, well, that's just another story for another day. I've been McCready. Joining me has been Delta, CDC on the production, and Science is live, as always, killing it on the observation. We'll see you tomorrow, and goodbye.